Hello. Oh my god, I've been muted this whole time. Hello, my darlings. How is everything? How is everyone? It's been a hot minute since I've broadcast from this particular chair. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. Yeah, it's been some time, kids. I hope you've been enjoying life. I don't know. Hold on. I'm shuffling things to see if everything is good. Yep, okay, we're broadcasting now, people. Everything's good. A little technical hiccup at the beginning. Yes, it was a bad start, but we're here now. So, boys and girls, God, I'm becoming more and more Taliban-y every day. I gotta shave this beard off a little bit. It's a bit too much at the front. It's just too much beard. Opinions on the beard, please comment down in the underpants section after the video's finished live streaming. But otherwise, no, you can keep the rest to yourself. Okay, so boys and girls, what are we talking about? We are talking about Andrew and the Tate brothers, and it looks like I'm not the only one. Everyone and their grandma is talking about the Tate brothers. In fact, I can see the Hattoons set up a stream with Tate in it. Of course, Pearl would be doing that. She's in fact the Matrix is coming for Andrew Tate. She's going live soon as well. Maybe I shouldn't be advertising that. Yeah, it looks like everyone and their grandma is gonna do a live show about this one because, well, we've all been waiting an awful long time to see some kind of movement by this, and it looks like that the Romanian government have finally decided to make good on their trumped up charges, which I still believe to this day is trumped up. I think that they don't really have anything, and I think that the Tate brothers will be unequivocally found innocent. I'm enjoying a sort of a latte with a dash of vodka. This is not exactly a White Russian, although it could be, because it's not Kahlua. It's just one of those, lattes you buy in a supermarket, ready-made, with just vodka. So there you go. I think I found the hack for a White Russian. Just buy a ready-made latte and stick some vodka in it. The vodka is a dash. I'm not going crazy with that one right now because I'm just keeping it cool. All right, boys and girls, I'm rambling a little bit just to get things warmed up, get people at it, get a few people in there. It's a conspiracy. Big up to everyone in the chat. JB, Lo Wang, which I don't think is a real name. I'm assuming I'm not muted anymore, so that's good. The CIA is coming after banks if we're talking about top G's. Hey man, I'm doing nothing but give love and positivity to the top G's and everyone in the chat here. Love and positivity is coming your way. I've been watching Chaotic Truth way too long. So yeah, Kosher Mouse, big up to you, DEF Com UK, and everyone else who's joined us. All the ice people, all the sun people, all the mountain people, you're all welcome here. You're all welcome in this heap of mess that I have over here. So yeah, you're all good. 5x5. I'm not sure what that is. Could you please elaborate by the 5x5 thing? I'm at a loss. So we are mostly going to discuss the Tate issue and obviously everything surrounding the Tates. But if anyone else wishes to discuss something other than the Tates, please post it. At least put my name at it and then sound check. Who's sound? Oh, 5x5 as in sound check. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I am not aware of such things. Divested black women. Yeah, that's what it is. So So yeah, I mean, let me give an intro, at least for those uninitiated, to the Andrew Tate brothers. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are a couple of young mixed race, you could say, young men from Luton, London. But although I think they were born in America, but grew up in Luton, London. They actually know certain Tommy, and they were, mostly famous for their kickboxing. Andrew Tate is, I think, 4 times world champion or something like that, and Andrew Tate is, and Tristan Tate is like a European kickboxing champion. He won a European belt at some point. So they were mostly known previously to the era that we are in as just kickboxers, and mediocre money and lifestyle, and generally nothing special, until I guess they discovered that they could utilize, at least according to Andrew Tate's Hustler University. This is from the Hustler University information that I obtained over the internet, and I believe everyone else has, that they managed to use the assets that they had available to them in order to try to generate more income for themselves, which that was in the form of getting their girlfriends to do webcams on online, various different, I guess, outlets to do live cams. And according to Andrew Tate, again, he was the one who was actually chatting in text to the men, to the Johns, whilst the women were, looking glamorous and pretending that they're the ones typing all these seductive words to the men. But of course, it was Andrew and Tristan that were the wordsmiths behind this, which makes sense, because I don't think a lot of attractive women. There's a hand. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Good-looking women, they don't need to be brainy. They really don't. They can just let someone else handle it whilst they just look attractive. Is that halal? Lo Wang says, I don't believe it was, but then at the time, the Tate brothers were atheists, so it doesn't matter whether it was halal or haram, because as we all know from the Muslim Ummah, that you can be in a period of what is known as the Jahiliyyah, which is the unbelieving days, the fallen days, where you can behave like the heathens of the West and non-believers. Well, right hand possesses, that's halal. That is actually halal. We're not talking about that, but we are talking about like living in the jahal and the jahaliyas and sinfulness. So that's what they were. They made all their money whilst they were in the jahal, in the jahaliya era, and then they progressed to other things, I believe casinos. They moved from Britain to Romania. Now, I presume it is mostly because it is so easy for young girls to point a finger at a man and accuse them of essentially what we would call a grape on YouTube. And so for those litigious reasons, or the frivolous allegations that can be thrown at a man in the United Kingdom, the Tate brothers decided to move to Romania, hoping that it would be an environment which would be easier for them to be able to operate in. Now, whether they were doing something nefarious or not, we don't know. All we know is that 2 ladies tried to have them prosecuted in Britain for Grape or for abuse of some form, and it was never prosecuted. The prosecution in Britain, the Crown Prosecution Services, decided, after looking at the evidence, that it was not a case that they could prosecute over here. So they never were prosecuted for any acts of ungentlemanly behavior, shall we say, in Britain. And you would think that Britain would be more rigorous than Romania, certainly. So if they had actually done some wrongdoings over here, then maybe the British government and the British Crown Prosecution Services should have had done something about it. But clearly, it wasn't enough evidence for them to prosecute. So they moved to Romania, where they continued, I believe, with their cam girl empire, and then they grew that by, I believe, some connections with potentially mafia members. And these are all allegations. These are all allegedly, by the way. We don't know whether they are involved with any mafia groups or not, but allegedly they opened casinos in Romania, which may have had ties with some mafia types in Romania. These are the stories that we know of so far. And from that point onwards, take your shirt off. It's hot. I actually do have an air conditioning unit, so I apologize if that noise is coming through. If not, fantastic. But I do actually have an air conditioning unit in Britain, which is a rare event that we don't really have these things in Britain. But those of us who indulge in the luxuries of life, we acquired an air conditioning unit because I sweat like a fat pig. Yes, that's right. I had to get an air conditioner because my entire bed is just it's effectively a water bed by the time I wake up. So yeah, I had to invest in such a unit because I can't survive in this country and the kind of tropical heat that we're currently having. I can't hear the AC. Thank you, DEF. Thank you for confirming that the AC is silent in the back. Although it's not really silent here where I am. It's you can hear it. You can hear it pretty badly. Anyway, I digress. So yes, the Andrew Tate story was that they went to Romania. They did the businesses. They built their empire, and as always, I don't know whether, when I say as always, I don't know whether this is hubris, this is arrogance, maybe it's narcissism. But after building all that wealth and all that money, at supposedly, quote unquote, buying all the Bugattis and Lamborghinis that God has to offer, Andrew decided, no, he must be famous also. It is not enough to simply be rich, but thou must be famous. Vanity. Vanity is the devil's favorite sin. If anybody's watched The Devil's Advocate, you'll know what I'm talking about. Vanity, baby. It's Satan's favorite sin. And maybe that vanity is the downfall of the Tates. Who knows? Who knows? This story has not ended yet and it's still playing out. But I don't know about anyone else, but I've never wanted really. I suppose it's a really bad way of saying to people I never wanted to be famous, because I'm here on YouTube fucking broadcasting myself to the world and saying I don't want to be famous, yet I would love for this channel to grow and to have millions of subscribers. So it's hypocrisy at its best for me to say I don't want to be famous, but I certainly just wanted to be rich. I definitely just wanted that, and I think most people just want to be rich. They don't really want to be famous, and they don't want to be known around the world. I mean, there was a picture of two of the Saudi sheikhs, multi-billionaire, oil-rich sheikhs, sitting on the tube in London, and someone snapped that photo because they recognized them, but no one else cared about these people. These were two effectively Arab-looking guys sitting on the tube. And I think that's why they come to Europe, because they love it. That nobody knows them over here. They can walk around at complete ease and be invisible. And it's the same with, I think, a lot of people. They just, after a while, the fame part it's a bittersweet sort of ending, or a bittersweet achievement, because you become rich and you have all the money and all that. But then the fame, I think, especially with the paparazzi kind of haunting hounding you all the time, must wear you down after a while. Anyway, I digress. The Tates, or Andrew, certainly was on Big Brother. He had to leave Big Brother suddenly because of those allegations of grape charges in England, sorry. And then once he had fought those off, I believe they made the decision to move out of United Kingdom, certainly. And I guess they felt Romania was a place they could live and do business and whatnot. I think now they found that they're probably going to have to, they're most likely 99% certainty that if they fight these cases off, they are moving to Dubai, where they will be untouchable. And of course, Andrew is now converted to Islam, and they no longer deal in the haram business of camgirling, apparently. Or I don't know. I guess they still have their casinos, but then I'm sure the Arab sheikhs in Dubai all have their casinos as well. Hello, Mr. Chavez. Hello, I hate it here. Positivity coming your way. I've been on Chaotic Truth's channel way too long, gentlemen. But anyway, So here we are. Here we are after that long, boring, and quite pointless story, because everyone here probably knows it. The Tate brothers, they were arrested in December. They were detained for approximately, I think, 6 months in prison, because they were considered to be flight risks in Romania. But finally, a judge allowed them to be released on the house arrest, where they reside at the moment, until their day in court, I guess. A lot of people are saying that it might take years, in fact, for this to fully, conclude. So I don't know. It could be a few years before the Tates are actually free. But for now, as the BBC, I'm sure, are gloating and are incredibly happy about the fact that the Andrew Tate charged with Grape and human trafficking. It's amazing that the BBC can write it on their website, but I can't say it on YouTube. That's just ridiculous. By Lucy Williamson. I believe Lucy Williamson is actually the lady who interviewed Andrew at his house and got royally owned by said Andrew Tate. Yes, I believe that is our Andrew. The lady who was interviewed by Andrew Tate. So yeah, she's, I guess, a roving. There you go. There's our Lucy girl. There's our girl trying to get another scoop, or probably try to get something on Tate in order to spin it into some kind of fabrication. But yeah, our girl Lucy, and she is the one who's edited and wrote or co-wrote this entire article on the BBC. Of course she would. She's just dying to take down the Tates now. It says controversial influencer Andrew Tate has been charged in Romania with Grape, human trafficking, and forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. There you go. I guess those are the charges. His brother Tristan and 2 associates also face charges. All have denied the allegations. I believe the 2 others are the 2 women that work with Andrew, their PAs and whatnot. The Tate brothers were first arrested at their Bucharest home in December. In March, they were moved from custody to house arrest following a ruling by Romanian judge. The incident, despite deposted, the indictment deposed with the Bucharest court says that the 4 defendants formed an organized criminal group in 2021. This is what they formed it in 2021 to commit human trafficking in Romania, but also in other countries, including the US and the UK. So when they were millionaires, when they had already made all their money and they had all their casinos, that's when they decided to become human traffickers. Not at the beginning when they were, poor people, as according to Tristan, they used to have to steal leftover KFC chicken on tables. No. At that time, they didn't need to create a human trafficking gang. But in 2021, when they were full-on millionaires driving Bugattis and flying private planes, that's when they went, okay, guys, now that we've made it, now that we're actually millionaires and are living a very lavish lifestyle, we have to do something criminal. Now we have to start trafficking people. Because when we were poor, we didn't need the money. But now we need the money and we need to traffic people. What? That doesn't... All right. Sure. I'm sure there was no other option for them. They were just strapped for cash. They had pennies in their pockets and they had to traffic human beings in 2021 in order to pay the bills, keep the lights on. You can't make this crap up. You just can't make this up anymore. I mean, how is it in 2021? Not in 2019, not in 2015. Not when they were, strapped for cash Luton boys living on handfuls of rice and stolen KFC. Well, leftover KFC effectively. No, that wasn't when they needed the money. It was in 2021. Are you sure about that? This is where the meme "Are you sure about that?" comes up with John Cena, because I don't think this means what you think it means. Anyway, so apparently, yeah, that happened. It names 7 alleged victims who it says were recruited by the Tate brothers through false premises of love and marriage. So obviously they're going for the lover boy indictment here. Andrew Tate, the self-proclaimed misogynist, even though that's not actually a crime. As far as I know, being a misogynist is not actually a crime. I don't know. Maybe England has been cuckolded so much that it's now a crime to simply be a misogynist. I thought you could be a misogynist and women would just circle around, would just circle away from you, or they would just avoid you like the plague. I mean, that's perfectly fine, right? But apparently, yeah. Big up Atticus. Peace and love and positivity coming your way. I'm so stealing this from Chaotic Truth. And if anyone doesn't know who Chaotic Truth is, go check it out and you'll see. So, yeah. Grooming-ish. He's a self-proclaimed misogynist highlighted, and there's a link. Now, let's see where the link goes. Who is Andrew Tate, the self-proclaimed misogynist influencer? Oh, I see. This is a link to another article. I mean, what can you say? I mean, when they come for you, dude, they really come for you. It's non-stop. They even included a link of what the self-proclaimed misogynist is all about. This evil man. You could almost hear the Imperial March playing when they're talking about Andrew Tate. They've got like that, I bet you there's the Imperial March playing in the background as they're typing away. Dun 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 dun. We're gonna take this misogynist down. This man that tells young boys, don't be so cuckolded and so engrossed by the gynocentric society in which you live in, and don't be such a weakling, such a little bitch. Don't be a pussy. Actually stand up. Believe it or not, women actually like a man with a spine. Oh, this evil man. We have to take him down because our boys are growing up to be heterosexual again. They're telling them that they're not trans at the age of 8, that they can grow up to actually have a penis and a set of balls between their legs when they're 15 and actually complete their puberty. How dare they tell the young men that they shouldn't be on puberty blockers before 9? This evil man. Dun, 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 dun. Haram! Haram! This is so fucking cartoonish. It's like cartoonish bollocks. Unbelievable. So yeah, the alleged victims were later taken to buildings in Ilfov County in Romania, where they were intimidated, placed under constant surveillance and control, and forced into debt, according to a statement from Romanian prosecutors. The defendants allegedly then forced the women to take part in pornography, which was later shared on social media. Du, 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 du. You were supposed to unify the force, Andrew, not destroy it. The misogyny is strong in this one. There are many paths to the misogyny. Some would consider unnatural. Misogyny strong in this one. Shag many women he has. This is so fucking ridiculous. Okay. Hello, the lodger. How are you doing? We'll take well. Well, was it? Well, take. Should it be Tate? Would never take hormones, would he? I see. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna stop reading the chat because it's I'm not sure who's talking to who. But they dating already. They know the ting already. Sorry, someone's talking to me in like fucking roadman language. They know. KNO isn't even like, it's not even the no anymore. I mean, if you're missing the W, it's just nonsense now. At least just write they know, N-O. Why are you putting the K? Who needs the K at this point? The K is a superfluous silent fucking letter in that word anyway. You missed out the important one, which is the W, and put in the silent letter, which means nothing to me. They know the thing. Okay, I'm being too pedantic here. Blame Valley. I learned from him. Well, yeah, you got to tell Veli to teach you the roadman language a little bit better. Okay, where were we? Yeah, the alleged victims. The defendants allegedly then forced the women to take part in pornography, social media. One defendant is accused of graping a woman twice in March 2022. The statement adds. Well, we'll see how that one goes with the evidence. The trial will not start immediately and is expected to take several years. You see, this is how they do it, man. It's not the punishment. The process is the punishment. So they're going to keep him under house arrest for years, possibly even, dipping in and out of jail every few months or two. Maybe even, put him in jail for a year just whilst they're still processing this whole mess, or the courts and stuff, depending on the kind of judge they'll get. So it's not, the jail time is not the punishment. The process is the punishment. Go ask Mr. Tommy and all the other people that have been caught up in the British system for expressing their truth, expressing the fact that they don't want to wear masks or take certain untested medical procedures. Yes, it's the process that's the punishment, not just the jail time at the end. A Romanian judge now has 60 days to inspect the case files before it can be sent to trial. The media team from the Tate brothers said, whilst this news is undoubtedly predictable, we embrace the opportunity it presents to demonstrate their innocence and vindicate their reputation. Now it goes blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on, obviously, and there's the video of the interview, which is not the full interview. It's only 8 minutes of like an hour's worth of back and forth. Obviously, they cut out all the argumentative parts that our girl here, Lucy, presented. So, the debate or the question that is to be asked is, are they going to be convicted? Are they innocent? Are they guilty? Those are the questions. Now, what I am going to do is, at some point, I may open a panel. Sorry, guys. I never said this. I was at the gym. I know you don't believe me, but I was. I then rushed back, tried to get something to eat, and then started this BS. So, yeah, the whole thing is incredibly unprepared and rushed. But then again, I just wanted to talk about the Tates anyway. I wasn't really interested in anything else. So it doesn't really matter for me that it's not... that it's sort of, half-assed and half prepared, because at the moment I am just interested in maybe some of you guys. So I'm gonna post. Yeah, there's a StreamYard link right there. I don't have the StreamYard ready to show everyone yet, so I'm just posting it out there. Oh my God, Miss Banksy! Hello, hello, my dear Miss Banksy. Hope you are well. Hope everything is good. So yeah, I'm gonna just see what who wants to have a little chitter chat. But in the meanwhile, I gotta actually get this son of a gun set up, because it is so not set up. Where the hell is it? So yeah, that's my take. I think they're innocent. I think they will be vindicated, and justice, if there is such a thing, will be served. But the problem is, and that is the next issue with the Tates, is that if the Tates are found innocent in this scenario, as Andrew has already said, the Matrix has 3 effective bullets that they fire. One is... No, for God's sake, where is it? One is that they'll ban you from everything. 2, that they will put you in jail. And 3, they will Epstein you. Now, we've seen with Andrew, bullet number 1 was fired some time back. Banned from everything. Bullet number 2 has been fired for the last 6-7 months. Was it like 7 months? I think they were arrested in December. So bullet number 2 has already been fired. Now, if they are freed in this situation, if they're set free, there will be bullet number 3, Epstein. And usually it's very easy to Epstein someone in a Romanian prison. Let's be honest, if they can Epstein in a American prison, I think they can Epstein the Tates in a Romanian prison out in the ass end of the world. So, you guys think the Tates are due for an Epstein session? Or are they going to beat this? I don't know. I think the Tates might fold, you know. I think it doesn't matter how much bravado you have, how much of a G and an alpha you want to be. Once they come for your mothers and brothers and kids, and I know Andrew has, apparently Andrew has a kid, has like 4 kids, and Tristan has kids as well. Once they come for them, once they start threatening them. Now, I don't know what provisions the Tates have taken to avoid Epsteining themselves. But I will say that whatever provisions they've taken for themselves, I wonder what provisions they've taken for their loved ones. Because this is not just an issue with... what's it called? This is not just an issue with just the Tate brothers. They're not just going to finish with the Tate, but they're going to go North Korea, full North Korea on their ass in this situation. If they don't yield and offer the palm, just like what's it called? Planet of the Apes. If they don't yield and offer the hand, I suspect that they're not going to end with just them. They're going to end the Tates with their kids. And Andrew seems to be very, very, what's it called? He's very strict, or very, very. He considers it incredibly important to leave a legacy, children as legacies, as their legacy, not just some internet clout. So if he's really adamant to keep that kind of a legacy, he may fold, man. He may fold. They're coming with gambling offense as well. That palm. That palm has a price. Yeah, I know. And I think I'm just wondering how long it's going to take until the Tates actually fold. I wonder how long that's going to be. Anyway, guys, the link is out. If anybody wants to chit chat, please let me know. Whilst, as you can see, I've got the StreamYard set up now. So anyone wants to jump on, and we can chit chat about this. Whilst you guys are deciding to jump on, maybe not at all. I don't know. I'm not privy to how many people are in the panel that would want to jump on. Most of you guys want to be anonymous as F. Okay, let me just read this. There's a couple of things. Lo Wang has written Tate's company, Talisman Enterprises, which is, I mean, technically it's Tristan's, but okay, would have 16 machines in a few locations at the casinos. They are also coming after him for that. The machines were skimming. Oh, interesting. So it's what I mean. They're gonna come for the taxes. You're looking well, Banksy. Hello. Yes, thank you, Miss Banksy. I hope you're wonderfully well. Or they may DR David Kelly. They made Dr. David Kelly him. Oh, interesting. Royal Gamers say they made Dr. Kelly him. Well, Epsteining him, Dr. Kellying him, whatever euphemism you like to use. I suspect if he continues in this path, I think they will threaten his family first. Not necessarily threaten, but go for his family. Let me, what am I doing here? What are these things? Let me just put it back on myself because that's ridiculous. I think they will go for his family. I think they might threaten his family first, and then they'll move on to his, what's it called? To his, to actually threaten to kill them. Oh God, can't even say that apparently on YouTube as well. Threaten to delete them. It's ridiculous. The language policing is now becoming just unbearable. So let's see how that unfolds. But look, let me. Sorry, guys. Still in the process of getting this StreamYard set up just right the way I want it. In the meanwhile, I would like to say that if you could all please go to, those of you who are here, go to the Hafez Reflex YouTube channel. Oh wow, I actually come up right at the top of Google as well. That's kind of impressive. When you just type Hafez Reflex, bam, it just comes right up there. I'm gonna post the link. Do feel free to go there and subscribe to thy channel, because I really want to grow that, so that hopefully I'll start at a different style and less aggressive with YouTube, or less contentious with YouTube's issues. I want one channel to catch a bit of fire. Now on Hafez Reflex at the moment, I mostly post motivational stuff.
7 habits that will transform you in 30 days.
Things like that.
Plato, who was never seen laughing, and who had given himself the motto of avoiding the evils and unpleasant situations.
Yeah, I can't really play this one. This one was copyright claimed because of some background music, I believe. But let me. Oh, damn it! Where are we? What the hell? Hafez. Not that one. This one. Oh my God! Thingy, Real and Maggie Real is live as well. He's running a live event by the looks of things. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted. I wish to go to my yeah, I'm mostly playing. I'm actually mostly uploading London scraps on this one, and as I say, occasional motivational videos
If a woman
like this
needs
one.
love, a man needs respect. But it's almost easy for us to say, well, he can get my respect when he earns it. Can you imagine if your husband said, she can have my love when she earns it? Just as much as women need love, your husband needs respect. Not only was he created to be able to need this, to receive it, he was built that way. He's going to be drawn to the places where he actually does receive it. That's right. Whether it's his workplace, you know, some of us are like, why is he always out of the house? Why doesn't he like to be at home? Why does he always feel so grumpy or look so grumpy when he's at home? But then for some reason, when we're out with his friends or when he's at work, he's thriving there. You see so much joy in him. It's because he's receiving respect. He's gonna find respect in the relationships where he receives it. And if that's the case, we've got to figure out a way to understand that there is a true need for a man to be able to receive respect.
That's good.
That's right. That's right. Man needs respect. Mandem needs respecta. And if we don't get respect, we is not playing ball no more. And yeah, these are a lot of the videos which have gone live now since. Yeah.
I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second.
Yeah, these are some of the videos that I've uploaded to. I like the music. I know this music, believe it or not, is hip hop music found free on YouTube. These are royalty free music on YouTube. I'll let this one play out a little bit so you guys can hear it.
Guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate.
Yes, this is London Scraps. This is, well, actually, you know, you wanna diss this, but I've seen the Street Beefs when they started. They were horrific. The ring that they were fighting in, they still are horrific. They fight on mud, for crying out loud. It's just muddy ground, and they're doing MMA, rolling around on the floor in this horrific, disgusting mud. With like no proper cage or anything like that. People are falling through the crappy strings that they erected in the early days of Street Beefs. So I don't know. Street Beefs was pretty shite to begin with when they first started. It's very amateur sort of stuff. So people kind of liked it. But these guys, at least they have these fencings. Now I don't know where they get them from, but I think they procure them from some other workplace in London or somewhere. I don't know. But they've got that. Now, the floor, admittedly, they're looking at possibly bringing some mats so that it's not concrete. But generally, at least they're using, they've got a half-decent ring. But yes, it is Poundland. One thing I want to say quickly, that guy with the headgear, this was his 5th fight, and each fight is 3 rounds of 1.5 minutes. So this was like his 5th or 6th fight of the day, that guy with the t-shirt. And this guy without the t-shirt, he's bloody awesome. He's very fit, and he's a kickboxer, and he's very good. He wasn't like, these were not, the funny thing is, this is something that I noticed, watching these punches in real life, they were far harder than you can measure or gauge on video. When I'm watching the videos, it looks like the punches are not hard at all. But actually, they were slapping this guy's head and body when they were making contact. Especially when that guy without the shirt was hitting the other guy. You could hear the slapping. It was these punches were hard hits. None of them were light hits. Admittedly, I don't think it was trying to like knock the guy unconscious, but generally there was nothing easy about this. I'm shocked the police allow this. I don't know what's going on in London, but they're letting this one just go. I didn't go this weekend because this weekend it was absolutely chucking it down with rain, and I was just not in the mood to sit in the rain and record this. So these are not this weekend, but the weekend before. But I will go hopefully next weekend if everything's good.
way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent, cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me, put it on the line and you'll come up empty.
Now, I was unfortunately live streaming this one, so that's why the quality is a bit low. So I decided to actually record the other videos. So the more recent videos, actually no, this wasn't last week's. This was the week before. The last week one, I actually uploaded one called the Battle of the Roids, because there was two very, very steroid happy gentlemen, shall we say, just going for it. Where is it? Where's the Battle of the Roids? Oh, those ones are not available yet. Okay, let me show you the shorts, because I actually had a couple of shorts of the Battle of the Roids as well. Not that one. I think this one.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top. Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I.
Yeah, he hurt his leg at this point, so they kind of stopped.
Get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but
The funny thing is, I got another one here. Now I'm gonna mute the sound, because the sound, they were playing music that was copyrighted. But the funny thing is, I uploaded this while I was actually there on the night, and someone in the comments wrote, where is it? Oh, come on, where's the comments? Doesn't show me the, what the hell? I can't see the comments on a short. That's YouTube's bug. But the comment said the guy on the right, who meant the one with the checkered sort of shirt around his waist, he couldn't box eggs. So yeah, that's so yeah. Anyway, long story short, this is the kind of stuff at the moment I'm uploading to Half as Reflex. Go there, check it out. There is a lot of content there, mostly I would say appealing to men, really. This was a protest, Iranians protesting some weeks ago. I was live streaming that. My people are still struggling. Big up the people of Iran and their struggle for freedom and equality. And look at that, Salman Rushdie was stabbed in the face by an Islamist scum. And all of these people are either injured or dead that are on this picture. Look at all these women and men, young teenagers. They're either dead or injured. You know, some of them got patches on their eyes and stuff where they were hit or shot or whatever. So yeah, what is going on? What is going on, Mr. Sunak? I thought you're supposed to look out for us over there in the east. Look at that. This is the Islamic police that are doing these terrible things to people. Anyway, so yeah, these are the sort of things you can find. Actually, this was Posey Parker.
What happened in New Zealand?
Oh, the Karens here were unbelievable. It was so much Karens, I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to eventually leave, but I did go back, I think. Where is it? And I did get a pretty good interview. Obviously, there's Pavlov doing his thing. There's me with something in my face. Yeah. This is where I started commentating on the
Karens about it.
Yeah.
So it's been great for you to be down here seeing.
God. So this is the problem with intersectional feminism. They brought this shit upon themselves, and now they're all Karens about it.
I started commenting like this about these feminists being all Karens and basically, bitching and crying about the fact that now men are in their spaces when they were the ones who were smacking the rest of us around the head, saying, "Oh, you bigoted bastard! You trans people are people. Trans women are women. Oh, now that trans women are taking a piss in the urinal next to you." In the urinal next to, in the toilet cabin, toilet, whatever the hell it is, the cubicle next to you. while you're trying to shove that tampon in there, or when they come in with the dick swinging in your changing rooms. Oh, now it's too late. Now it's time to stop this madness, right? But back 10, 15 years ago, when the rest of us were saying, yeah, maybe this trans business is a bit messed up. Maybe we should not push forward so much with this stuff. It was these same feminists that were screaming against us. You see, the messed up thing is, these are the people who created the problem, and now they're bitching about the problem. And then what do? They come and ask men. They come and ask us to fix their fucking problem. This is why Andrew Tate said feminism is an ideology that cannot exist without the without people who don't necessarily support it but have to protect it. It doesn't exist without men. It cannot be supported by the people who benefit from it. Feminism cannot stand and be supported by the people who benefit from it, which is females, which is women. It requires men to prop up feminism. Women could not have feminism if it wasn't for men. Look at Afghanistan. Look at Pakistan. Look at Iran. Do you think they're feminists? I mean, admittedly, even now, the women are screaming and shouting. But let's be honest. If the men don't support the women in their bulk, the women's movement, this hijab business and all of that, that's not going to go anywhere if it was just the women. The reason the Iranian protests are gaining some sort of traction is because there are men who actually are dying in the streets and supporting it. It would not be anything if it was just the women going out. I guarantee you, allow 2 months, no men for the Iranian protests, just women, go out into the streets of Iran. Let's see how long it'll last. It'll be over in a week. This is the problem. This whole feminist quagmire is, it only exists because of men. It doesn't exist because of women. Women nag, but men are the ones who actually put physical action behind it. They're the ones who can actually drive it forward. And ironically, it's a bunch of trans men who are screwing with them. And the messed up thing is, the feminists can't actually beat off the trans men, or the trans women, sorry, not the trans men, the trans women, men who became women. They won't be able to physically fight them off. This war would not last a second if female feminists had to fight against trans women. If this ever came to a physical confrontation, the feminists wouldn't last 5 minutes. So the feminists actually still come to men and say, could you get these men in skirts out of our changing rooms, out of our toilets? So they still are actually asking men to make this happen for them, because they themselves will not be able to do this. There's no way feminists are gonna get rid of the trans thing, and it's fucked up, because the opposing side is saying, no, these men are actually women. They're not men. And it's got them like twisted up like a pretzel. But anyway, I wanna move. I don't want to harp on about the feminist thing for too long. I want to go back to when I went and interviewed, because I want to clip this section, but I just haven't been bothered to do it. Here we go. This is at the end when Posey was leaving. She's packing up, taking some photos. Yeah, you go ahead. And I'll be honest. I'm gonna just say it. I've been saying it like the way I think anyway. Although I still fundamentally agree with Posey Parker or Kelly JayKeen's position on the fact that, yes, men with swinging penises shouldn't be running around women's changing rooms. I certainly wouldn't want that if my daughter, or if even if one of my cousins, I've got female cousins, if they were in a changing room and some swinging schlong was just drying themselves out, just flossing their crack of their buttocks with a towel in the women's changing rooms. No, I wouldn't want them to be in that environment. But Kelly J, revels in the attention too. You can't deny the fact that she loves this attention. She loves her mini celebrity status that she has. She is definitely enjoying that part of it too. See, even men are better at feminism. Yes, Ison, Norfolk. Yes, even men are better at feminism than feminists. Ah, the irony. But anyway. No, there was this. Just fast forward as fast as I can. There we go. This was the bit that I wanted. She was being interviewed.
Some fans. Shall I stir up some shit? Start screaming trans rights or human rights? Anyone?
Yeah. That particular day, though, there was no counter protest. I keep missing the counter protest days, which is crazy. I don't know why I keep missing them. Every time I go, there's no counter protest. Now, technically, next Sunday is the next event. It is the 25th. Yeah, it will be the next one, which I definitely want to attend to see what's what. Wagwan, as one would say. The roadmen.
Queen of Turf Island. There she is. She's now leaving. Kelly J is now making her way.
How are you, Jen?
Okay.
Shop with her. There you go. She's being interviewed by.
To trust their instincts. If they feel something's wrong, it is, and you can't.
The funny thing is, I saw a movie with a woman there's a woman or a man wearing the same jumpsuit. Sort of, that it's Elvis as well. It's very similar to Elvis. She keeps comparing herself. She loves to compare herself, obviously, to Marilyn Monroe. That she doesn't hold a candle to, but everybody wants to be Marilyn.
I think once you start trying to wrestle with that and make it rational and reasonable, you lose your instinct and then you lose your protection for yourself and you put yourself in danger. Can you tell me about these networks?
But the funny thing is, I actually see her extremely close to that lady in Mary Poppins. You know, the mother of the kids, Mary Poppins. I see her on that par because she was a feminist and she was out there at the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, all protesting and stuff. Bruce Lee. I need to infiltrate them. I don't think I need to infiltrate them. I think unfortunately, I'm too penisy for the infiltration of the feminist turfs. I'm too penisy, as it was said in Family Guy when they did the Star Wars thing. Don't get penisy, kid. If you know what I mean. Don't get penisy. So yeah, I'm too penisy to be involved that deeply in this movement. They literally ban men, like, from even coming up, because in that same event there's a guy called Street Mike, and he always pushes himself in front to the front of whatever is going on to get the best shot. And Kelly J told him off and told him to go back because they wanted more women at the front. So yeah, I like, they bully men at these events. And yet they beg for men, and ultimately they beg for men, male politicians, to make the laws to keep men who want to be women, men who would be women, from their safe spaces. This is the hypocrisy of and the mental just gymnastics of all of this. They are extremely bigoted towards men in their circles. They literally say only women get the first option to speak. Can't be doing with Street Mike. Oh, Miss Banks, she doesn't like Street Mike. But what I'm saying is, they at their events, at their little circle in Hyde Park, they literally straight up tell men You speak last. You speak second place, and they literally put men in second place. Now imagine if there was a circle of men at Speaker's Corner, men's rights activists, who said women don't have the right to talk when we're talking. Now, don't get me wrong, at Speaker's Corner, it is a male-dominated environment anyway. 99% of speakers are men. The Christians or the Muslims are dominated by men. Muslims almost entirely men. So it is kind of in a roundabout way. Men are the only ones that get to talk at Speaker's Corner because only men seem to show up in their large numbers. So women are very rare anyway, women speakers at Speaker's Corner. But this Kelly JayKeen's little sewing circle of women, their little feminist circle, literally openly discriminate against men. And I would love it. I would love it if I could get a bunch of guys to talk about men's rights issues, men's issues, red pill, whatever. And if a woman comes in to try to speak, we're like, sorry, no, this is a men's rights issues only. Women are not allowed to speak. You can speak, but you have to wait until all the men have spoken first. Imagine I would just love to see it. I want to try it out and see what happens. If we just get a circle of men, and if a woman tries to talk, we just shut her down immediately. The TERFs are always happy to see us. Welshie. Oh, by the way, big up Welshie. Positivity coming your way. The thing is, the TERFs are not necessarily happy or sad to see us. The fact is, you've seen it for yourself, right? How they discriminate and discriminate against men for women in their speeches, who's allowed to speak and who's not. She literally openly says it. Only first and foremost, you get women are the ones who get to speak, and then the men. So I would suggest to have a bunch of men, have a men's rights circle, and if any woman dares to fucking open her mouth, we will go Saudi Arabia on their ass. I will become Ayatollah Khomeini right away. I will Khomeini their ass. Oh man, I mean, you know how that's going to go down, right? Based, if I could actually arrange such a scenario, which is like herding cats when it comes to Speaker's Corner, but if I could actually get a bunch of men, we could just like 7-8 of us. It doesn't even need to be that many, and any woman who comes will just shut them down. No, I'm sorry, this is men's discussion circle, men's rights. You get to speak after all the men have spoken. That shit would make BBC, I think. I guarantee you it would fucking... And we start bigging up. We start talking free top G. Free top G. Oh, my God. Oh, dude, if we could do that. Welshie, if we could just get a group of men and we talk about men's rights, and if any woman comes, we shut them down, and then we start shouting free top G. Oh, inshallah, we will have that one day, where the men can finally speak and be men in the land of the British. Oh my God, I'm talking so much shit now. Anyway, guys, that's Hafez Reflects. If you want to see the rest of this, go there, watch it. And yeah, enjoy. I want to clip this bit, actually. I should clip it and put it onto the thing. But anyway, getting back to the main topic of the show, which is the Tate brothers. Any takers? Anyone want to jump on the panel? The link is pinned. The StreamYard is open. Feel free to mosey on down. That's the Hafez Reflects YouTube channel, and I shall post this. What time is it? Oh my God, it's 9:30 already. 20 to 10. So if no one shows up, I'm gonna wrap this bad boy up like a present. I couldn't think of anything immediately. What do we got here? Christ, we only have 14 people watching anyway. So yeah, actually, I'm at Speakers this weekend. Oh, dude, Welshie, this weekend, right opposite the women's under the women's feminist tree circle. We just need like 10 men, and we'll have a circle of our own just like a few yards away, and we start talking about men's rights and the loss of masculinity and how we need to bring back super masculinity back, and how the courts, all that usual red pill talking points, dude, I can reel them off like in 5 seconds. I can reel off like a whole list of them for you. So we just get men, and if any women come near us and try to involve themselves in it, which I doubt because most of them are going to be at the Kelly J thing, but we'll be like a reasonable distance away, but close enough for them to kind of probably maybe even the ones at the back overhear us a little bit to piss them off, because they are so Karens when it comes to it anyway. Unless we get Antifa protesters or trans protesters, then we'll be divided between covering them and having. But I think if we can just do it for 10 minutes and then tell them, any woman that wants to speak, that I'm sorry, this is a men's rights circle, and any women that wants to speak, they'll have to speak. They'll have to wait until all the men are finished, and then the women go after the men. Come on, do this with me, Welshie. It'll be epic. We'll make the news. Hell, we'll even get some of the trans, if there's any trans people, they will say, yeah, you guys can speak before the feminists. Anyone with a swinging dick can speak before the feminists. Oh, we have a bite. Former romantic. Let me see where I am with my thing. Okay. Hello.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, dear God, dude. Dude, you have a picture of a woman and you're calling yourself former romantic. I'm like, what the fudge is going on around here? You have an exceedingly confusing avatar to name combo here, MC. How are you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm resting. I am indulging myself in gluttony, and frankly, I hear the bad news, and I also have to tell you bad news from my side about your side. Unfortunately.
Okay, what's that?
I mean, the British authorities unfortunately banned one of our politicians for speaking out things that they don't like. You remember the guy in the European Parliament when he said that women are smaller, weaker, less intelligent, less aggressive, and that's why they earn less. Remember this guy?
Sorry, repeat that again. I missed that. What was that?
You remember this Polish MP that was in the Euro Parliament a few years ago?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, this guy that said, because women are earning less because they are smaller, weaker,
yes, the based old guy. Yes.
So he have a travel ban to Britain now.
Are you kidding me? He's not allowed to come to Britain anymore.
Yes.
Because of that event, or because he's had some, because I know Sargon interviewed him after that speech, and he's got some seriously, like, what I consider based opinions. But so I presume he's been to Britain and has done a lot of other speaking arrangements. That's probably why. I don't think it was just directly because of that speech.
Well,
but yeah, I agree that it was probably a combination of those things that he's now.
Yeah, that's also a thing. He also broadcasted about the case with Tommy Robinson. He also said other few things what is going on in Britain. Why, for example, Count Dankula was persecuted. Mm-hmm. They probably don't like it that they are made famous by him this way.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, I'm sorry. The problem is Britain is like one of the most cuckolded countries in the European Union anyway. It's like Britain, Germany, Sweden, France to some extent, although certain parts of France seem to be kind of based, but generally, I mean, at least France kind of has Le Pen as a pushback, and the Germans have now got the AFD? Is it? What was it? That group, which is kind of German nationalist types. I forgot the exact acronym for them. But anyway, they have them. The Swedes are now getting some pushback from various different angles of their country and their politicians and various, the people are voting sort of right wing. The Danish, I think they've been based for like years. They never allowed the level of migration. They never allowed all of this trans-bending business going on. So they Danish have been one of the based sort of countries in Europe. But unfortunately, Britain, they don't really even have an opposition party. That's the messed up thing with Britain. Our conservatives, quote unquote, are supposed to be conservative, and they are as cuckolded as any, as the Labour Party or any other party. Anyway, it's just that they are less cuckolded than the Labour. The Labours are like full on cuckold, full on communists, whilst our conservatives are effectively considered. They would be the place where the Democrats would be in the United States. They would be at that level. That's how bad we are. That's how fucked we are in Britain.
I can see that.
Yeah, our most conservative party is the equivalent to the Democratic Party in the United States. That's what we have as an opposition to the insanity that is the Labour Party. And the Labour Party are just, as I say, it's just practically friggin', they're sucking Stalin off at this point. It's just, we're screwed, dude. We're screwed. The next election cycle, which looks like most likely Labour's going to win. This country is screwed. I've been talking to a friend of mine who lives in Saudi Arabia. In Kuwait. He said to me, dude, everyone here says, if you're in Britain, you got to get the fuck out. You got to get out. In the next few years, you got to leave this country. This country is going to go horrifically shit in the next few years. It's already horrifically shit now when it comes to cost of living, petrol prices, fuel prices. All of that is skyrocketed. No one can afford to buy a fucking house. Only the super rich who buy these newly developed flats and penthouses, and then they just buy to rent. So they buy them and then they rent them out. So everyone else is just renting from the super rich. Especially if you're in London. The rest of the country, you're screwed. You can barely get a mortgage. You're just like, there's just so many avenues of just being fucked. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, basically the salaries, pensions, everything is 4 times higher than in my own. But so what if the prices are as equally high and even more like Poland in the 90s, basically now?
There you go.
Wow.
So I mean, I don't know about Poland or Romania or other places in Eastern European countries.
We have inflation too. Unfortunately, we also have those problems coming back. Thanks to the situations in the world, thanks to the migrant crisis that we experience. With the war in Ukraine, thanks to our own government, of course, because they also. They also deserve a Darwin Award for the recent taxes that they have made. The law that I told you, I will never forgive this guy for that, the president of this country, and I really wish him that his own wife will throw him away out of his house when the presidency will finish, leave him on a fucking street. I want him to live on the street of Warsaw.
Yeah, but I mean, we can all say that about our politicians. There's so many traitors.
He is now betrayed the man of this country, and despite whatever they say about the woman in this country, no, the women in this country, my own, are quite privileged. I mean, imagine going when you are 60 on the go and retire. The men only can at 65 on average. Yeah, this is the country that I live in. We live 8 years less. That's another thing. As I told you, this law that allows the woman to put false accusations on you, throw you out of your own house, and you have to even pay for that fucking place. America, fuck yeah, came to us now.
You see what I mean? It's madness. It's just freaking madness. The whole thing is just up. Just I don't know, man. I don't know where it's all gonna go. That's the problem, because right now, as an individual, I'm just looking at liquidating assets and trying to get the hell out. But then, where are you going to go? Rest of Europe is screwed. You need visas and all of that to be, sorted out before you can go to any other country. Dubai at the moment, and as much as I despise, I've got my own issues, if you will, with the religion of Islam. Dubai is one of the few places that actually is welcoming, and maybe the place that you may have to escape to, at least for a short term, in order to get out of this economical hellhole. Because they don't have these sort of issues over there at the moment, and if you can get a viable business together, like an internet business going, and I'm hoping some of the few things that I'm working on bears fruit. I know it sounds crazy to me, but I may have to move to like a freaking Middle Eastern country just to get away from this shit, because Europe is screwed. Canada is fucked. New Zealand is in the shits. Australia screwed, and besides, Australia and New Zealand have terrible immigration policies that wouldn't even allow me to migrate there. You can go there and live there unless you're a super millionaire and you can invest. They just don't let any old Joe in. It's really hard to actually get into Australia, ironically, and New Zealand, I would imagine, is probably similar. So it leaves you Europe, North America, and possibly places like Dubai and Emirate nations, because at least if you don't have you have some freedoms. It feels like you have some freedoms in Dubai, and you do if you have money, but generally it's a almost 99% surveillance society. If you're speeding, they just pick you up off the cameras. They don't even there isn't a police that's going to come and arrest you. They just pick you straight off cameras, and boom, you get a bill. So it's constantly monitored. That's the thing with Dubai. It's constant. You're on the constant surveillance. But at least your kids can walk the streets. At least your daughters can walk the streets safely. That's at the minimum. See, that's the fucked up thing in Britain, is that we are monitored all the time. We have cameras everywhere, facial recognition everywhere. We're monitored all the time too, and you can't walk the streets either. You're not actually safe. You can still get stabbed up in the streets of. I'm talking the good parts of London. I'm talking Kensington, Knightsbridge. You can still get stabbed up in London now. This isn't like just isolated to the ghetto areas of London. There used to be like places like Brixton and Peckham, even though they've all been gentrified. But you got places like Tottenham and Hackney, which are still dangerous, sort of dodgy areas. But I'm talking, you could park your car would get smashed in on Kensington High Street, one of the richest affluent areas in London. Houses are, I don't think there's a house or a flat less than £1 million in that area.
Wow.
It's ridiculous, the expensive areas. Places where Madonna used to live. Guy Ritchie and Madonna used to have a place in Kensington. So these are the areas I'm talking about that are not safe anymore. So if the rich areas aren't even safe, if you don't have, if you're giving up all your freedoms for no security, then what the fuck am I doing in London? What the fuck am I doing in this country? You are, it is the classic, what's it called? The classic expression by, I think it was Benjamin Franklin. Those who give up a little bit of their security for a little bit of freedom shall surely lose both and deserve none. We are literally getting none. At least in Dubai, they're getting the safety part. At least they're getting that. They're getting something for their money, for the lack of freedoms that they have, for the 24-hour surveillance society that they're under. We don't even get that shit. You're not even fucking safe. You're better off in China at this point. Get out of London and move to Wales. Yeah, that's what people are doing, by the way.
But the only way, even if you would want to immigrate to China, you would have to betray your country or give them something really juicy from the British government that they probably would like to kill you for. That's the only way to get the citizenship.
Well, yeah,
No, I know now what Dubai means then. Before and even now, although, as you say, Britain is getting worse than Dubai. But Dubai maybe was a hint or combination of words. Dub an I, Dubai, dub the I. Who knows? Sorry, I just cannot think of something better. Wow.
What is it? What happened?
Nothing.
Was it
I
the
don't know
chat?
what the.
Oh, by the way, there's a chap Gulimon
What the hell?
Golomi Golomi. Oh man, that's a tough one. Anyway, he says, yes, I won't knock you, Banksy. I won't knock you for moving to China, but UK from UK, but Dubai will be too much for you, dude. I've been to Dubai. There's a ton of Iranians in Dubai. I could live perfectly comfortable amongst the expats of UK, which I mean I met like a Scottish guy down there when I was out there, and he told me all about the English expats and where they tend to reside, and between them and the Iranian expats that are in Dubai, literally Iranian restaurants, Iranian supermarkets, I would be very comfortable in Dubai. I'm not going to even joke with you. There's all the food and the facilities and everything I want is available in Dubai. You can live your life very comfortable. I've got a couple of friends who are Kurdish Iraqis. One of my friend's brothers. He went there for like 5 years. Although they did come back eventually because they were spending way too much money. The problem with Dubai is that a lot of people are like chasing the Joneses. There's a very you got to have the same as the Joneses kind of vibe in Dubai, where if they buy an expensive car, you have to buy an expensive car. They buy a yacht, you have to buy a yacht. There's a little bit of that going on in Dubai, where there's a lot of people chasing the Joneses, trying to keep up with the Joneses. If you can avoid that trap and not be part of that sort of clique, or just generally don't get involved with the clique of constantly trying to have the more expensive car, the more expensive this, that, just constantly showing off effectively, then Dubai is fine.
So you want to tell me they are like two things, they are like the Dubai version of boomers that also preach all of that Islamic stuff, but the most important thing is who have the most toys wins.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, this Islamic thing is just like below the surface of Dubai. I mean, Dubai is kind of like, it pretends to be Vegas, but an Islamic take on Vegas. So it has all the Vegas-y stuff. It's even got literally the fountains of Bellagio are in Dubai. You can find it. Obviously, they have 10 times bigger skyscrapers and all of that. They've got the casinos, the hotels. Yeah, they've got the bars, the casinos, the prostitution. All of that's going on in Dubai. Like, none of that is missing from Dubai. It's hidden. There is like a hidden layer of it because they have to have this face of a semi-Islamic society. So you can't just walk into a shop and buy a can of beer. You can't, but you can walk into a bar and get absolutely smashed. You can actually go to a Filipino bar, which I ended up accidentally sort of ending up in one, where the women, like, you can literally just pick your women and take them to your hotel room. Which ironically, most of these bars are attached to a hotel. So you can literally just go to the reception and then get a room and take them upstairs directly. And they're not that, we're talking like $100 per girl. That's the sort of price that we're talking about. We're not even talking about that expensive, like, for a night. And they're literally lined up. Just, the whole place was just full of prostitutes. There were no regular girls to pick up. It was just, the bar was just full of prostitutes. I was like, oh my God, where the hell are we? But that's what it was. It was just.
What can I say? The thing that I'm hearing from you it's like this. Halal. I mean, halal in the
prostitution.
Front. Yeah, halal in the front.
Yes.
But when nobody sees, you get every cunt.
Yes, absolutely. Halal in the front, but hidden in the and the back is all the most haram things you can think of. There's a joke that a comedian called Omi Jalili, he did this joke which was about Dubai. He says, in Dubai, you can get whatever you want. You go to Dubai, they go, what do you want? What do you want? You want food? We have food. You want gambling? We have gambling. You want drink? We have drink. You want woman? We got woman. You want us to blend woman? You can drink woman. And it's like you can have whatever you want. And he turned around and he said to the guy, he said, look, I thank you that I have, thank you for all the offers. I can have anything I want. That's amazing. But what I really want is a bacon sandwich. And the guy was like, what? You want pork? This is a Muslim country. How dare you ask us for pork? Please drink your woman and leave.
Okay. Just give me the link so I can watch it later because I have to watch it. To be honest.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. It's fantastic. I mean, he did this years ago, but that's kind of explains Dubai. You can have the most debaucherous, nastiest shit going on in Dubai, and yet you want a bacon sandwich and they'll evict you from the country. This is the crazy hypocrisy. Yeah, you know, you can have. I mean, there's literally, we know about the Instagram models. I don't need to repeat the Instagram model escapade of Dubai and what happens with these Instagram models who go to Dubai. We all know that. So it can be the most debaucherous, heathenistic place ever, but it has this veil of Islam.
I know a few Polish Instagram models or whatever models have go to Dubai, and you know, unfortunately for them, they are famous in the country because it have been revealed that those sheikhs, those guys, basically that have ordered them were crapping in their mouths. Yes, and now we are saying that their favorite drink was a chocolate shake, whatever. And they have the right in the face.
Exactly. There's a gentleman called Cyrus I. I don't know if he wants to jump on. If you want to jump on. He's saying something is pronounced Guillaume. I'm not sure what I was talking about that is pronounced Guillaume, but thank you for the update. There are a lot of gays there too, but it's very well hidden. Yeah, exactly. No, it's not even that well hidden. It's not that well hidden. Believe me, Gollum. My friend, he was in Dubai literally like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and he's like, dude, you can just see them. The rent boys are just walking around, and some guy calls him over to, like, you can see the guy, he's sitting, he's having a coffee or something, and another guy kind of gives him some kind of signal. The guy walks over, they whisper in each other's ears, and then they've arranged obviously something for later. So the guy goes wherever to meet up with this guy. It's like in front of my eyes. I was like, this is a rent boy. I can see this is a rent boy. So no, it's not even that hidden. If you think it's that hidden, you can sit in a coffee shop and observe the movement of people, and you'll find it's not even that sort of secret. It's like an open secret. It's like everyone knows this is going on, but it's kind of not acknowledged. It's what was it? There was this rule in America called "Don't Ask, Don't Tell." I don't know, MC, if you know about if you know the United States military. If you were gay in the military, you were not allowed. You were not allowed to be gay in the military. But if you were, it's just don't ask, don't tell. No one asks.
Many countries still have it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But yeah, nobody asks and nobody tells. Everybody just chills, and they just go with that. That's it. Don't ask, don't tell. So anyway, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, you actually, MC, you're in the best position. You're Polish. You're sort of in that sphere of Eastern Europe. Do you think in Romania these guys can get the Tate brothers can actually get a fair trial?
Oh shit! I mean, if the Romanian government is pissed enough on them for spreading fame of their country as a corrupt shithole that he can take advantage of, I would be really shaking in my boots. I would be shitting myself, to be honest, because I mean, they hate that stereotype, and many of those countries, mine included, can be quite sensitive about it. So it'll be a hard battle for him even if you win, and he really will have to do something insane to be honest, because it is not about the thing that they have said about all of those women, because it's fucking Romania. Let's be honest. It's
interesting.
It got better there, but it is still a second world country, and they have certain problems there. I mean, much worse than in my own. And I'm sorry, the politicians from an Eastern Bloc country can be fucking psychotically vicious if you're going to do thing like that, a thing like that to their country.
All right. I just
if
want to
you're going
bring.
to be a nationalist.
I just want to bring in Cyrus I. Salam. How are you, sir? You're the
I'm
gentleman.
good. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, good evening, by the way.
Yes.
How you doing, guys?
The MC who's called former romantic. He's Polish, and obviously Cyrus is Iranian. We're all from the same part of the world, at least me and Cyrus. Cyrus, your channel, I keep forgetting. It's called. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Test the claim.
Test the claim, exactly. Yes, you're from Speaker's Corner. You go there quite often.
That's
How are you,
right.
sir? How was your evening?
I'm good. Oh, really good actually. I was listening to what you were saying about the home comforts that you recognize in Dubai. Like you have friends who live there or who are going there. The Iranian community that's there, and it's funny that the moment you were saying that, I was pulling up outside my local Persian supermarket to get myself a mashhadi melon.
Oh, fantastic!
It's the season for these amazing melons from the city of Mashhad. I think it's the second most populous city in Iran, and these
holy city
these
as
melons,
well.
absolutely, yeah, very important city in Shia Islam.
Yeah,
in particular.
But where did you get the mashhadi ones? Because they're not as easy to find as people think. These are not just everywhere.
Well, there's a certain suburb in the north of London, which has been colonized almost by the Iranian community, and a number of mini marts and supermarkets have opened up over the last 3 or 4 years.
I'm with you.
And we've taken over, man, and we've got stuff. We've got stuff coming over all the time. Anything that's in season. For example, a couple of days ago, I bought a tub of halva, a well-known Iranian confectionery. There are variations of it in the region, in the Middle East, but Iranian halva is a very specific, almost like a chalky texture. With some softness to it, very sweet, often with pistachios added to it. But this particular halva is from the city of Yazd, which is the Mecca of Zoroastrianism, so to speak.
Oh yes, yeah. Is this near? Well, actually, yeah. Is it near Shiraz?
That's a good question. I don't know where it is exactly geographically.
Yes.
But it's an incredibly important religious city for the Zoroastrians. They still have the towers of silence upon which they would put the bodies of the dead to be picked by the vultures.
Wow.
Because that was the tradition in Zoroastrianism.
That's right. They don't necessarily bury or cremate. They kind of leave the bodies out.
No. They Zoroastrians would avoid desecrating the earth by placing dead bodies in it.
Oh, interesting.
So they would place them out of reach for the birds to pick the bones clean.
Damn.
Okay. I would just ask. So you want to tell me that there are still those ancient monuments of Zoroastrianism that the followers of the most child-loving prophet didn't destroy, right?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that the Zoroastrians found themselves exiled in India. And they're commonly known as the Parsi community.
That's right.
So they continued the tradition of exposing dead bodies on rocky outcrops. However, because of the modern intake of pharmaceuticals, the vultures that would traditionally pick the bones of these carcasses began to die off. They became infertile because of diclofenac poisoning.
Wow.
So the flesh that they were eating was toxic with these like painkillers that we take, and it almost killed off the vulture population in that part of India.
Goodness. So imagine what's inside us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I
mean, I knew it that you can kill an animal if you let that animal eat you. I mean, I don't believe that this shark in Egypt died. For example, this recent shark. I think he was just had an extreme case of alcohol poisoning, and they have to just put him down just to make sure he will not suffer anymore.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
I wanted to pick up on what you were saying about Dubai, and actually,
Yeah.
I never had any interest in going to Dubai. I always kind of shied away from it, not only because I don't know, it wasn't a part of the world that I really felt any attraction to. However, I kind of acquiesced and went with my wife eventually. And you know what? In terms of quality of life, and you're absolutely right with what you said about keeping up with the Joneses. But if you can stay outside of that, if you can just be a kind of a willing observer of that kind of behavior, but not get dragged into it, and it is difficult when you're kind of immersed in it. But if you can stay on the outside of that and you can work hard, and there are a lot of people looking like they're working hard in Dubai, but they're not doing very much, but there are a lot of opportunities there. You can have an excellent quality of life. I mean, the idea of on a day, like London, the weather was lovely today, but on a day like this, going to work, maybe doing your 9 to 5, or if you're lucky enough, working from home, and then at the end of the day, let's say if you have kids, jumping in the pool with them. That
Precisely.
kind of, those little differences that I think that make all the difference.
Yeah.
We just don't have that. No matter how hard you work in the UK, the only time you get to enjoy it is when you leave the UK. You get on a plane and you go and you have your little 2-week holiday here and there. But if you live somewhere like Dubai, you can actually enjoy your downtime and have a decent quality of life.
I mean, the only release or reprieve that I get is I'm fortunate to be a member of a pretty decent sort of gym, the Virgin Active, the David Lloyd style. And I use their facilities as that little reprieve after work. You go, maybe a little workout, jump in the pool, the sauna, the jacuzzi. That gives me that sort of Dubai sort of compromise, but that's nothing close to having the weather and the conditions that you get in Dubai, at least. And as I said, and it is a highly monitored society. You're not just free, but it's becoming like that in Britain. Under the guise of freedom, they're literally monitoring us 24/7.
Up until 10 years ago, London was the most surveilled city on earth. It just so happens that, it may have been bypassed by the likes of Dubai or certain cities in China, but we are no strangers to surveillance. You can't go down the street without being picked up on a camera.
And they're bringing in face recognition now, which is the prelude to the social credit system, which China already is operating. How long is it going to be until you're so tied up in your social credit? And the funny thing is, people on the internet and various different groups that people that are followed on YouTube as well, used to say, when is it going to be that your fridge won't open because your social credit isn't enough? When is it going to come when your car won't start because your social credit isn't right, because you clicked like on a Twitter account of someone that's anti-British regime? How long is it going to be until your facilities, your fridge, your washing machine, your car won't work because it's all connected?
Of course, and there is this kind of internet of things, and smart fridges, for example, you mentioned fridges. There are already fridges that know what you have in your fridge. They know the contents of your fridge. They know when, for example, you've run out of milk, because the milk shelf has a
like an infrared reader or some kind of sensor that detects
a pressure switch or something, right? And it knows when you're out of milk, for example. So it knows when you take your milk out of the fridge and when you put it back in. And based on the weight of the carton or the bottle, whatever it is, it knows when you're running low, and it gives you reminders. And I think there are even fridges that are already hooked up to things like Ocado or
Amazon has them set up. You can actually then it will just reorder your stuff from Amazon. It will just read the barcode.
And from a social engineering perspective, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before your sort of social indiscretions, so to speak, count against you. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. You want to act in an antisocial manner? Fine. Then, you haven't paid your ULEZ charge, for example? Fine. Well, then, you're not getting any milk this month.
Not even you didn't pay your ULEZ. That's just given. You pay your ULEZ like you pay your car tax now, or you pay your electricity bill. That's probably just going to come out direct debit. But it's the fact that you went out for 20 minutes longer than you were allowed outside your 15-minute city zone, and you did not return in the correct time, and now you're going to get a penalty for that, and maybe your car will be blocked. I mean, imagine how they block you from, or they chuck you off YouTube, they chuck you off Twitter, they ban you from these social medias. That's gonna just translate into your car, into your. Imagine this. This is the next one that I can see that coming. You are too obese, or you are too out of shape. You are not allowed bacon for about 2 months. Your fridge will not allow you to buy bacon.
Don't worry, it'll only be for us men. The woman, it will be sexist against women only, probably, because they are plus size. They are not obese. They don't disturb the gravity. They are only plus size.
And by the way,
there was a movie.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, so there are already toilets in Japan that can test your urine for various, if you got high blood pressure, if you've got high cholesterol levels, all of those things they can test for, and then give you doctors' recommendations on various different.
I just got back from Japan a week ago, and I was going to touch on Japan actually with the whole obesity thing, because actually it's very closely monitored, not only by society but by employers, for example. And you can, I don't know, I mean, if you can get reprimanded for allowing yourself to become overweight or obese. But I was just going to say there was a movie, I think, like in the early 2000s called The Island with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. And there were very. I mean, these people were kind of part of some sort of.
Well, they were all clones. They were clones of people, rich people, and they were basically body parts.
It was an organ harvesting sort of initiative going on.
Yeah.
But their calorie intake, the types of foods that they were allowed to eat, were all so carefully monitored.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, to keep their organs healthy, because. Yeah, obviously they had to keep them healthy because their organs had to be kept healthy in order for the donor to the guy, the sponsor. So if they needed a kidney or needed a liver or whatever, this guy gets cut up and the part gets shipped over to the.
Okay, so now somebody has to do it. I hope that I will go to Japan one day, but I will drink traditionally for my region there. I want to see how the toilet will react when they measure. The amount of alcohol in my blood, and you know how Slavs drink.
The toilet sensor melts. The alcohol level is so high, it breaks the toilet.
I want to destroy a Japanese toilet this way.
But it's interesting in Japan, like the approach to alcoholism in Japan, like for the corporate class, which is the vast majority of the urban workforce. For them, like public intoxication, there are no stigmas attached to it. It's considered part of the corporate life to go out, entertain with your colleagues, with your customers, and so on. And it's no surprise to see corporate types just strewn on street corners in Japan, like after hours, having had like way too much to drink.
Amazing.
It's not stigmatized. There's a very relaxed attitude to that, as long as you don't make too much of a public disturbance, because that's heavily frowned upon. But if you've got a skinful and you're bladdered and just sitting in a doorway somewhere, people just tend to leave you alone. It's not
considered out of order or uncouth to just be drunk and sitting there out of your brain.
Not at all.
That's interesting.
It's a very interesting. Yeah, it's an extremely interesting kind of mindset that they have there. And I was talking about this with somebody yesterday, the kind of famous Japanese honor system, and I was comparing how they approach like union like trade union action. So for example, in the UK, let's say if the bus drivers go on strike, who suffers the most? It's the customer, it's the passenger, it's the person who's on the daily commute trying to get to work. The buses aren't running, the roads are overloaded with additional cars. everybody suffers. It's gridlock everywhere, and the fat cats sit there and maybe they negotiate, maybe they don't negotiate. In Japan, there is no honor for a striking bus driver to pass his grievance on to the passenger, because his aim is to inconvenience his boss, not to inconvenience the guy who's, the innocent guy who's just trying to get to work. So what Japanese bus drivers do when they go on strike is they go back to work, they pick up the passengers, they go from A to B, but they don't take money from the passengers. So they don't inconvenience their passengers. In fact, the passengers get a bonus. But the fat cat, the bosses, are the ones who suffer because they're still paying the fuel costs. They're still paying the running,
all the overheads,
like operational costs.
But then doesn't the bus driver get fired?
Average Joe, well, no, because this approach to this kind of thing is so ingrained that it's also protected in law. So you can't. Right. So the British labor system is just completely different, and frankly, it's always us suffering, isn't it? The bus drivers or the tube drivers or the nurses or the doctors or the teachers are upset with their bosses for not paying them enough, but who suffers? The kids who go to school, the people trying to get to work, and the fat cats just get fatter.
But that is exactly it. These protests, this is why a lot of people are against it, like the public are against the protests quite often, because they're the ones that are inconvenienced. I'm the one who can't get to work in the morning. I'm the one who has to find babysitters for my kid now because the schools have protested or whatever. So it's the public, and I think actually this is probably, and I may be called a conspiracy theorist for this, but I think this is intentionally done so that we diminish the concept of unions and people striking in order to fight for better pay and better conditions, so that because the public are not going to support the unionization, because they know that unionization is then going to bring along strikes, which will inconvenience my life. So in a even on a subconscious level, even on a conscious level, we know a union is a good thing, and it helps the workers of that company to improve their conditions. But on a subconscious level, you're like, sod them, I need to get to work.
Yeah, but it just seems like everybody's out for themselves in the UK. Like if, for example, in Japan, if the bus drivers were causing that much inconvenience, first of all, they'd be considered dishonorable. If they behave the way our workforces who go on strike behave, it wouldn't be society would police itself in that regard. But also it just feels like, and maybe I'm generalizing, it just feels like everybody's looking for a day off here anyway. If you can just go home and if you could stay home one day and just put your feet up rather than go to work, I feel like a lot of people would just prefer to do that rather than go out and actually make a protest and actually have it hit the people that they're protesting against, and not just all this collateral damage of people getting, their travel plans getting wrecked.
Yeah, but when people strike in this country, don't they lose pay? Don't they not get paid for those days that they're striking?
I mean, I guess it depends on your on who you work for and so on, but or what union you're with. But even then, I think it seems to be like considered a price worth paying just to have a day off and stay home from work.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problems with these sort of things, and I think what you just exposed with the way that the protests happen in Japan, where they actually inconvenience or actually somehow damage the bottom line of the big owners of that corporation. That actually brings it home to the bosses. They're like, okay, this is going to affect us directly. It's going to affect our bottom line. It's going to affect our share prices, etc., etc. So, if that is the way the protests and strikes are supposed to really be, is that the people who are the ones you're targeting to that are causing your suffering are the ones that targets of your protest. And
yeah, where's the honor in collateral damage? Where's the honor in affecting just the average Joe who has nothing to do, who effectively pays your wages, the customer, the passenger? There's no honor in inconveniencing
making them suffer,
that member of the equation. Yeah,
and they're the innocent party in this anyway.
Yeah, and you lose their sympathy as a result. And so That's what most people have no sympathy for the. Sorry, I didn't mean to take the conversation down a
No. This is
down a
actually very
tangent, but
fascinating about life in Japan, because I don't know the ins and outs of life in Japan, and I think
Yeah.
if we can actually get some, because I'll tell you why. I mean, I'm really curious about these things, because, for example, when Britain introduced congestion charging, or London introduced congestion charging, they took it from the model in Singapore, because Singapore introduced such a thing in order to reduce the traffic in the center of the city, but still allow people to get on. Because what they did was they had internal certain roads that were part of the congestion zone, but they literally built new roads. No, sorry. No, what they did was they built new roads that would get you to your location faster, but you would have to pay the charge for those roads, whilst the old roads full of traffic were still available for you to get to where you need to go without paying a thing. But you sit in traffic for hours on end. But London didn't do that. Unlike, Singapore and other places who do things properly, London, as always, or England, as always, did it the crappiest way, where they just set a ring around London and said anyone who comes in here has to pay it, regardless of what work you have, whatever. And we'll make exceptions for some taxis and for certain companies or disabled people, but generally it's just a ring around the city. You can't get into London with a car if you don't pay it effectively. This is the only choice you have.
I think it boils down, and it's kind of maybe a strange connection, but it boils down to the same reason that, for example, the bus drivers or the tube drivers are able to strike in the way they do and get away with it. And it's because we put up with it.
Yes.
So, for example, ULEZ, like we had the congestion charge already. Then they brought in ULEZ and claimed it was some sort of
environmental
pollution, like pollution tax, basically. And now they extended it to the North Circular Road, and now they're extending it to the M25.
Yeah, I mean,
every single time there's a minor uproar, and then it dies down. Yep. And these plans, like proposed by Sadiq Khan, get pushed through, and we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But elsewhere, I imagine they would probably take to the streets, and social unrest or social action as a kind of in opposition to these types of initiatives is probably taken more seriously. But here we just get steamrolled. Yeah. The motorist has been the cash cow for successive governments for successive decades. For example, it was only 15, 20 years ago, they were telling everybody, go buy diesel. They were subsidizing it. They were telling us that it was, in the long run, it was cheaper, that they were more fuel efficient. What's the absolute worst car you could buy now in terms of the environmental implications? So the government says it's the diesel, the same car that they were begging us to buy 15 or 20 years ago.
In fact, at that time, I remember they lowered the diesel prices per liter to less than petrol for a while, just to encourage people to get diesel. And because they said a tank of diesel gets you further than a tank of petrol does. It's more fuel efficient, blah blah blah. And also, companies built, especially new diesel vehicles, with tremendously sort of effective filtering, which actually filtered out and made diesel as clean as petrol. But the thing is, they don't take any of that into account, because see, now their agenda is shifted to electric. They're not interested in gas fuel or petrol.
How long do you think that's going to last?
Oh, exactly, because what's going to happen is that's just going to shift the burden of environmental sort of toxins to the power station, from the car to the power station, because the power station has to now work 4 times harder to provide the electricity that these new electric cars are going to demand. So to meet the demand of the electric cars, they're going to have to either build... the thing is, these politicians who, a lot of them that I hear about this environmental stuff, they're idiots across the board. They don't even take into account, because they talk about, we're gonna build wind farms. We're gonna utilize renewable energy. We're not gonna just burn more gas and coal and petrol to make this extra electricity. We're going to do it from this renewable. The renewables have been consistently proven not to be efficient enough to provide the kind of energy we need. Even in Germany, who subsidizes to this day their renewable energy power stations, wind and all that
Oh,
stuff.
Banksy, thank you for mentioning Germany, because I have something to tell you about their clean energy and their evil lying speeches about it. They are using coal plants because they have thrown out the nuclear energy. Not to mention, of course, a lot of Russian natural gas. They are going out from it. I mean, they're saying it, but I don't trust them with that. Not to mention other Russian, energy fuels and energy resources. But what the fuck they have done with the nuclear energy? This is the most cleanest energy we have, by the way, and the most effective.
Yeah. They've completely stopped all those because the environmentalists threaten. Oh, it's going to be another Chernobyl. It's going to be another Chernobyl. So that's what they'll keep harping on about, even though Fukushima proved.
They are confusing a superior technology with an inferior, fundamentally flawed reactor that actually had to have two functions. First, it have to provide electricity, and second, in the case of war, it was built in such a way that it should be turned into a plutonium-producing reactor.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, I see. So you can provide plutonium for the warheads. But what I'm saying is that regardless of what the functions of Chernobyl's power station was, Fukushima proved you can build an incredibly safe and effective power station, nuclear power station, that even in a scenario of a tsunami and an earthquake disaster, it will still not melt down and it will not leak and it can be contained. So what I was trying to say to Cyrus is, what I like is to look at countries like Japan and certain policies that they have, look at countries like Singapore and emulate their good policies. But the problem with Britain is that they look at countries like Japan and then they'll take a half-assed version of it and implement that in Britain, which pisses everyone off, and it doesn't do the job that it was meant to do, or it doesn't work the way it was supposed to, because you didn't do it properly. You half-assed it to try to somehow, fumble it into make it work to get it to work in Britain. But they don't do these. They don't take other countries' good ideas and properly wholesale import it and bring it over in its proper form.
Okay, Banksy, but you are missing one very important culture difference between Britain and between Japan. The Japanese are collectivists and Confucianists. The British people I have to tell you that are hardcore individualists from top to bottom. You get me? And that's why it will never function this way. It have to be from grassroots up to the highest classes. This kind of an attitude and mentality. I don't see it in Britain, to be honest. I don't know how you're going to implement it with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cyrus, you mentioned similar thing that about the fact that we're too involved in our personal individual bubble than to give a damn about the rest of society, basically. I mean, but the thing is, can you really blame the Westerners? And I don't even say this as Britain. I think it's Western propaganda or psyop for the last 60, 70 years, since the Second World War. They started to tell everyone, we need you to consume and create an economy. So buy things that are single use. Buy plastic forks and chuck them away. Don't wash a metal fork. Buy plastic plates. Buy plastic this. Buy paper that. They made life into a disposable society. And then they started pushing individualism. What makes you happy? What do you want out of life? What do you need out of life? What can you get out of life? What can your country do for you? Unfortunately, and ironically, a president in America literally said to them, "Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." And that message was completely lost.
The thing is, as we're talking, kind of comparing the British approach to the Japanese one, I'll kind of continue on that. Yes, the Japanese function very much as a cohesive unit, but it's the pressure to do that which has created a number of quite dark subcultures where things that kind of behaviors that are considered socially questionable, let's say, get pushed underground. And the other is that Japan suffers from like one of the world's highest rates of suicide. And I think part of that is derived from the social pressures to conform, to dedicate oneself to the collective identity, rather than to allow kind of your authentic self to show through publicly. I'm sure it's a much more nuanced issue than that, but I think that those issues do play a significant role. There's a huge amount of pressure to fit into a certain mold in Japan, which is why when I think of Tokyo, for example, I think first of all of the salary man, the corporate type, black suit, white shirt, black tie, walking to work, briefcase in hand, and there's a huge amount of pressure to be that guy. And when one tries to break away from that, there are a huge number of social implications for that. And I completely agree. We are I think the West has become incredibly like self-serving. People are just encouraged, just do what makes you happy kind of vibe. It's the complete opposite.
But
really,
would you say that there are basically, I mean, what you pointed out with the suicide rates and the various different underground maybe communities, are those the darker side of Japanese society then? Is that the side that we have to be cautious about? That if you get a society that is so collectively focused, that you are going to lose people to that, people who are more individual or more have a more of an individualistic vision of life, they're gonna get put on in the what's it called, the meat grinder of society. Society is just gonna just drive over them, and they'll be the ones that are essentially end up in either dark corners of the society, with nefariously bad groups, or they'll just simply check out effectively.
Yeah, Japan, for all of its sort of wonderful aspects, there is an incredibly dark side to it. First of all, there's this kind of very distinct us and them mentality. So, for example, someone like me growing up in London, being born and raised in London, despite being of foreign heritage, I don't feel like an outsider in this country. However, had I been born and raised in Japan, I get the feeling that I wouldn't be accepted as Japanese. So there is this kind of I wouldn't go as far as saying like xenophobia, because the experience I've had in Japan as a visitor has been incredibly warm. I've always been treated very nicely, but from people that I've spoken to who actually live there or who grew up there, who are not ethnically Japanese, there is always this feeling that they're not quite Japanese. And Japan, as I'm sure you're aware, for a couple of hundred years, they had this incredibly isolationist policy where they closed their borders. They stopped foreigners coming into Japan, which is actually where many of these ideas we get about what Japanese culture is took root in that period. It was almost like the Galapagos Islands of humanity in a way. They were kind of isolated from the rest of the world and almost developed, and I mean this in the best way possible, but almost into their own species in a way. Like they develop completely unique approaches to everyday human issues.
And they do think they are in a way their own species. Let's face it. What does the word Nihonjin or Nihonjin means? This is the name of Japan in Japanese. The land of the rising sun. So this is the land under the sun, and they are the people of the sun. Who are the rest? May I ask?
The Gaijin.
Gaijin, yes.
But that is only for the whites. For the blacks, it's Kokujin. I don't know. For the brown guys, sorry, I don't know. I was interested in myself again.
Oh, so Gaijin is just the white people. So they actually have different names for the non-white.
I was always under the impression it was just that was kind of a blanket name for a foreign person, but I wasn't aware it was just the white
Yeah,
people.
I thought that as well. But I'll be honest, I only heard that in a movie. I didn't even hear that in the actual. I heard it in a movie called American Samurai, where he refers to the guy as a gaijin because he's this American trying to learn how to be a samurai. You know, he's been raised as like in samurai tradition, and he's adopted. Well, he's been adopted by a Japanese family. This American boy, and his brother, his step brother, is kind of refers to him as a gaijin. Anyway, it's a long story. But
one of Japan's other massive. Oh, sorry, I don't want to.
No. Keep going.
I was going to say one of Japan's other glaring social issues is the aging population. So their population is expected to contract significantly in the coming decades. So it kind of contradicts this idea of us and them, because they're begging people to come to Japan now. You can buy a house in Japan literally for dollars, like for $1. However, those houses come with quite a number of conditions, like you have to agree to repair them and so on, which can be costly. But you could buy a nice house in the countryside without any exaggeration for $20,000. Yes, it will need a little bit of work, a fixer-upper or whatever, but there is such a surplus of. First of all, the Japanese are not big fans of older houses, so resale is not an easy thing to do. Overall, Japan is not a speculative market, so they don't have huge numbers of people coming in sort of for investment. Although, if relations with China were to improve, that would change. But you can get an absolute bargain. So if you can deal with a 14-hour, 13.5-hour flight to get to it, you can get an amazing holiday home in Japan for tens of thousands of dollars or pounds.
They would never let you. I mean, can you actually work and live in Japan? But they won't let you do that. You can buy the property, but what are the other conditions of being able to actually live there with this cheap property you just bought?
On the face of it, you'd probably have to treat it as a holiday home. That being said, Japan makes provision for allowing language teachers to live and work there. They make that process reasonably easy. Obviously, then if you wanted to kind of get a job, another kind of job, or you'd need sponsorship, and of course,
there's a lot of. That's what I mean. There's a lot of barriers, as far as I understand, when it comes to actually living in or getting a permanent visa in Japan. It's exceedingly hard and nigh on impossible to get a Japanese citizenship. I mean, that's almost impossible from most of the people that I've spoken to, unless you marry a Japanese girl and have a Japanese child. That is the only exception that I know.
Speaking of those children, I mean, and the child still will be not considered fully Japanese in a way.
Well, there'll be mixed race anyway. Of course there would be. But what I mean is those are the minimum. That's, or I say, the only example that I know of a pathway towards Japanese citizenship. I know people, my uncle, he has friends who work for the the Indian embassy, and their children were born in Japan, but they are not Japanese in any shape or form. They still have to, because they work for the embassy, they've got privileges that way. They can stay, but if they wanted to stay in Japan other than under any other condition than working for the embassy, no, they would be considered complete foreigners. It makes.
But my understanding is that with this impending population crisis, the Japanese authorities are softening their stance on this quite difficult procedure of naturalization, for example. They need people to come and do the jobs, especially in more rural settings, farming and so on, because a huge majority of the farming population in Japan is the elderly. Wow. Those are the people, the young people have all gone to Japan, to Tokyo. Tokyo, and this blew my mind, the greater Tokyo area is populated by roughly 35 million people.
Wow.
The greater Tokyo area is the size of Wales.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's almost like my entire country.
That is insane because
Population-wise.
London is estimated
It's
to be
bizarre.
around 12 million, but
That,
35 million
that's
people.
peanuts, man. That is peanuts. And I tell you what, it works. It works much better than London. You know, in London, and they knew if you want to travel on a different train line on the London Underground, you have to go a bit deeper underground. So, you know, the various lines are on different levels. On the Japanese subway, that's not really the case. Different trains from different lines all turn up at the same
Level.
platform, and the platform has different color print on the ground. And the people waiting for whatever it is, the train on lane one, the train on line one, they stand in like the pink section. The people on the Yamanote waiting for the Yamanote line train stand in the like lime green section. And when their train comes, the people from the corresponding queue enter the train. And no one gets on the wrong train. No one stands in the wrong place. Everybody waits for people to get off first. There's no clamor.
Amazing.
It's incredibly busy. But somehow, and I don't know how, but somehow it works.
Fantastic. But this is what I mean. These are the things, because given the growth rates of the population in Britain through mostly immigration, because the white people are not having sex anyway. I mean, if it was just white people or the English natives, if you will, then England would have the same problems as Japan. I don't see any difference there. It's the non-English.
Correction. White people, especially women, don't get any cream pies apparently.
Yeah, but what I mean is, England or Britain, in its native population, or what we would consider native, you know, the Anglo-Saxons and the Celts and all that, they would have the same. They've got the same problems with birth rates as Japan has. They don't have a better situation in that sense. It's the if you like, Anglo-Saxon Brits and Celt Brits that are, first of all, coming in through immigration. Second of all, they're the only ones that are having children. In fact, the Muslims are, I think, the highest rate of childbirth, in the population. But believe it or not, even the Afro-Caribbean blacks are very low in their birth rates. So this is something that's affecting everyone in this country. The funny thing is, and you know, because I know a lot of people then go into all sorts of different race issues. I've heard Dubai and Emirate nations and Saudi Arabia are now also having birth rate issues as well. Their birth rates have dropped considerably. I think it's what a lot of people say is it's affluence. It's to do with the fact that you have money, and that most people don't want to have 7, 8 kids to have to look after. Yeah, they want to go on holidays. They want to enjoy their life.
Oh, so in other words, they basically adopted the American boomer mentality, where kids are just annoying burden for the rest.
Oh, I think we lost Cyrus. I think Cyrus was going through a section that was I could hear a feedback.
Yeah.
So he had issues. But very, very interesting conversation actually that was about Japan, especially because I think there's two sides to this Japanese sort of coin. One is the good side of people considering their society and their community as a thing that they should protect and work for. But then the flip side is that I don't know why, but they're not taking that same responsibility of I should help my community by having children. I should help my country by having children in order to propagate the next generation and continue the country, continue my race.
Cyrus, too bad that Cyrus cannot say it because he was in Japan, I wasn't. But there's another thing: the costs and the prices for soil there, for land, and especially for accommodations, for buildings. It's insane. It's like even Britain isn't that bad, probably, or the way you describe it to me.
Yeah, but he said you can buy rural property very cheaply. It's property in Tokyo and probably the big cities is costly.
Yeah, but the Japanese would like to probably live in those, most of them, in those bigger cities because
of course
the action is happening there.
Well, it's exactly, the corporations are there. It's all, about a corporate life. Then I mean, like you said, the farming is becoming decimated because it's only been ran by the older generations now. The younger people don't want to live in rural areas and be a farmer. They want to grow up and go to the big city and become a, I don't know, financial investor or some IT guy or something else. And so the farming life effectively is being decimated. I was going to ask him, it's a shame he's gone now. I was going to ask him what kind of how automation is going to affect this, because I would imagine Japan is going to, since they're not going to be able to have a young generation of farmers, they're most likely going to automate. They're going to create, effectively robots to farm, to create, to do the farming for them. I can imagine that's where most of these countries are going to go with these low birth rates, is that they're going to switch from people doing the jobs to machines, robots doing the jobs, and that's it really. They'll just flip it like that. I don't know. That was very interesting. I'm so glad Cyrus came on. Thank you so much. If you're listening, Cyrus, if not, I would love to have a longer conversation with you about these issues. Although we derailed our what's it called? Our original Andrew Tate conversation, but I'm glad actually we had this. It was very useful. So, MC, I'm afraid it's 11 o'clock and I have to get up at 7 a.m. Well, actually 6:30, but 7 latest, to get to work.
Same here.
I know. So let's.
Although to me it's a brilliant plan to live somewhere where the accommodation is cheap. I don't know, but first I have to get wealthy, and then for the nightlife and for the action, go to the bigger cities. That'll be fine. Yeah. I don't mind to live in the countryside.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, dude. Sorry.
Peace and quiet in most of the week. Ruckus on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, if yeah, absolutely. I don't see any issues there. I just at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
The plan is, for me anyway, is to figure out a way to try to exit London for sure, and definitely the United Kingdom in the slightly longer term. So the immediate goal is to leave London, and medium term goals are to try to get out of the UK, because I don't see anything good happening over here. And I think a lot of people, the rich, had already started exiting years ago. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I started hearing about a lot of the rich people leaving. A lot of the Jews went to Israel, believe it or not. So yeah, the rich, those who have the resources to get out, are already getting out. It's or at least investing in places to get out quickly when they have to. It's just the rest of us that are tied to our regular jobs, and not, people who live on paycheck to paycheck, things like that. Those people they're in the shit. Let's be honest, they're the ones that are going to be screwed. So my advice is, if you are living paycheck to paycheck right now, or if you're on benefits, you're even worse off. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, make some moves. Do something to start to get yourself off that system, off that merry-go-round. If you have things that you bought on hire purchase, try to pay them off as quickly as you can, so you cut those ties. I know a lot of people probably have mortgages, which is another ball and chain around most people's legs. Try to get yourself off these. Try to cut as many of the ball and chains as you can possibly cut, in order to be mobile, because I don't see good things happening over here.
And just like me, if you don't have a family, and well, actually not exactly like me, because I don't work for the minimum wage, but even if you are a little bit older but don't have a family, you are still in a very good position to change your life dramatically.
Precisely. Yeah, no, I mean, you can, let's be honest, if it really comes down to it, you can pack a backpack and just get out and just liquidate whatever you've got.
I'm in my 30s, and I know that I can still do something about this life, because I have no balls in chain like wife and kids, and frankly, until I will not get at least so rich that I can move from here to there. I don't care, even if I will probably end up childless and wifeless. Too bad. Too bad, because when I think that if I would do it, oh yeah, sacrifice for some romantic bullshit that some other moron told you, you'll be alone. Anyway, fuck that shit again. Because most of them, when I see their marriages, it is like the guy is sitting there, but I can see and feel in his eyes that he's like, yeah, I am sitting next to her, have those children, but holy fuck, they could not exist, and I would feel still better than being with them around. Like,
totally.
Less lonely. That's the tragedy to me.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay, thank you, Mr. MC. Always a pleasure as always. I'll try and
my pleasure too.
Yeah. I'm going to try and do a couple of more streams which I have in mind with titles that I want to do, especially one before June ends, because in fact I might do one tomorrow if I can, because June is Pride Month, but I actually want to do a stream called Envy Month. Since we're celebrating the 7 deadly sins, I might as well do one for envy.
Anyway, Pride Month, it's funny because we have Pride parades in Poland. I mean, we just don't call them this way. We call them equality parades. I mean, Pride, oh shit. Isn't an individualistic society can only create such a name for a parade of former social rejects, as they would like to call them themselves?
Exactly. But I mean, look, again, I have no problems with someone who's gay. You're gay, be gay, be happy. I'm not.
Neither. I'm just calling things by their name.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
rejects.
I think the irony here is that there was a time maybe it was needed to have some kind of a pride event in order to say, look, gay people exist in our society and we have to sort of live with them and respect their way of life. But the irony now is that being this gay pride, first of all, a whole month is ridiculous. Not even Jesus gets a whole month. Nobody has Jesus. December isn't Jesus month. It's just 25th.
No
it's Jesus
Catholic
Day.
holiday in my own country have a fucking month.
Exactly. I don't know any culture actually that has a month of celebrating anything. I don't know, and nothing in the Iranian calendar, nothing in the Arabic calendar, except Ramadan, and that's not a celebration. That's a fasting period in which, at the end of it, they have a celebration which they call Eid, and they have a feast at the end of Ramadan. But that's because they've endured like all this fasting for the whole month, so they celebrate that. They also have a celebration for Muhammad's birthday, which is I think another Eid. Iranians have the 21st of March, which is their Nowruz, and as I say, all the other cultures like the Chinese have the Chinese New Year. I think the Japanese have their own celebrations, the Americans, but all of them, it's always a day. It's not a whole month of doing this. Don't get me wrong, the Iranians do have 13 days from the first day of their new year till the 13th day, where what they do is in that 13th day, they try to visit family members to get the family together. It's a very family-orientated event. So they spend that 13 days to try to arrange to go around each other's houses and visit each other. But nobody's off work. The day isn't like, nobody's like, stopping work or anything like that. But they try to arrange that. And then they've got a thing at the end of it called Sizda Bedar, where they have a mini celebration for that. But it's only like, as I say, it's 13 days maximum, and it's not even the whole time. And also, it's one day for the New Year's, one day for that Sizda Bedar, which again is not even a public holiday. It's just a day where we know we have to try to sort of see the event of this 13 days come to an end. Again, no one, I don't know any culture that celebrates a thing for a whole month. I just don't know any culture. If someone knows out there, let me know.
The A to Z, RTV, AGD, whatever, A to Z community
I'm
is
calling it the Wi-Fi password community now, because it just looks like a Wi-Fi password now.
And I will lay waste now on the Pride parade because I have to.
Yeah.
The quality gone down in recent years, especially after introducing fad acceptance into it. Because when I seen Pride parades in London, when I was living there for those years, for those 3 years, I mean, back in the days, at least I had something to look up to. I mean, those there are much more gay men that actually had those bodies that I should be striving for having, want to have body like that too, six packs, etc. And those good-looking lesbians. Now, what we do have, we don't have a pride parade. We have a large parade, basically.
Yeah.
On the streets of every major Western city, a large parade or a blabber parade, whatever.
Oh my goodness! Actually, let me check because I don't see. Yeah, no, there wasn't. I thought that maybe there was someone in the side chat saying, but no, I don't see anyone in the back end. Let me just answer this by Gollum. He says, Banksy, I was listening to this one guy saying Iranians love Israel but hate Arabs. Do you think that the Iranian-Saudi partnership brokered by China will lead to real solidarity? I was about to type all this out for you, Gollum, but I'm going to just say it on the mic since it's easier. No. This partnership will only last as long as the Iranian regime lasts. Once the Iranian regime is gone, the next regime is not going to be that kind to the Saudis anymore. They are not gonna. They're probably most likely not even going to honor the Saudi partnership brokered by China, because they will shift their entire political landscape. So no, because the thing with the Iranians and Arabs is that this thing goes back thousands of years. This is not a modern event. This sort of dislike.
And I can empathize, and I can empathize with it when people from outside my region are asking me, is there even any way to make Poland and Russia or get them into an alliance or friendly relations? And I'm like saying, maybe in another dimension, but not in this fucking universe.
Exactly. That's it. The hatred or the dislike goes very deep in these cultures.
Yes.
It's not something that can just be plucked out very easily.
The amount of time, those centuries, all of those events have set their roots so deep that in fact, if that would be a plant, we would be probably reaching the mantle or even the core of the planet with the roots.
Exactly. So yeah. Unfortunately, those types of things are not going to be very easily sort of dealt with, but there is hope that maybe at some point in the future, humanity as a whole will resolve some of these differences that they have. But that is like we're talking. You have to include the whole of humanity. You can't just talk about it with Iran and Saudi Arabia, because the French. Now, don't get me wrong. The Europeans managed to resolve a lot of this. The French hate the English. The English hate the French. They had wars with each other for centuries. The French and the Brits hate the Germans because of the 20th century wars, the two world wars that they had against Germany. So the French and the Brits don't like the Germans. And then there's feuds and fights between each other. The Belgic people in France and the Swedes and the Danes and the Norwegians and Switzerland. They all had their own internal conflicts and wars. The Latvians and the I don't know what else is there, Austrians, and you know what I mean. There's all sorts of internal conflicts in these European countries, but they've managed to, through an economic setting of the European economic establishment, they managed to set aside all of these differences and work together for the economic benefits of the whole region.
In most of Europe, today's wars are like on the stadiums when we play football, or when we roast each other, even in that godforsaken Euro Parliament or wherever. But thankfully, we don't send tanks again because of that. Well, with an exception of one.
The Russians and the Ukrainians. But yeah, apart from them. But what I mean is, you can see that even when they try to set these differences aside, there are still rifts which could easily, just like you saw with the Russians and the Ukrainians, it could blow up very quickly. It could explode. So these treaties, these ties, these agreements that these countries have, they're not as absolutely set in stone. There are times where, there could be a scenario where England will go to war with France again and go to war with Germany again. These are not like forever, we're never going to fight again.
Sooner or later, I hope I will not live to that time, this continent once again will be a brawler, kind of a brawler nightclub where everybody beats the shit out of everybody once again for fun, because it was fun according to Europeans. I mean, I'm joking now, but you get me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we cannot live without it. Why we were so good at war and conquering? I mean, this continent. Let's face it. We had a lot of practice for 1,000 years.
Precisely.
Fucking reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, even my own country, there was once a war of two cities. You know, for what? For one stupid cow. It was 400 years ago, but yes, it was so vicious that because one neighbor have borrowed a cow from another, the one didn't want to give it back. First were a few cottages, then two villages, and then two cities fighting with each other over that stupid cow.
There you go.
Even after death.
There you go. So yeah, a cow could set the whole thing off. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's stupid, but to be honest, that's been the case for a lot of situations. A lot of crazy wars have started over the most ridiculous thing. But of course, that ridiculous thing was just the final spark to blow up the powder keg.
And I have to say it. That was probably having beef the Polish way. Let's face it.
But I mean, the thing that created started the war may seem trivial, but that was just the final straw that breaks the camel's back, where there's all these other issues have been building for years and years, and then suddenly this final event is where people just lose their mind and they just do it. With Russia and Ukraine, we know that this was a potential eventuality because of the way NATO was moving, because of the way Ukraine ousted the officially elected president and then brought in Zelensky. All of these things were not in, this invasion was not in isolation. There was years of build-up to this. Some people may or may not have noticed it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. That these things, build-ups didn't occur. These things were building up for quite a long time until they finally, Putin just pulled the pin on this and let the invasion happen. I don't know. I just hope that Ukrainians find a peaceful resolution soon with Putin and Russia. I really feel
will not happen, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah,
they want the entire territory for themselves, and I can understand them because if you think about your family members that will stay in one place with little children with a convicted pedophile. That's how they see probably Russia. Like our children will stay with that pedophile, at least part of it. So they'll probably fight to the death for now. And there is so much bad blood between the two. In history, and it's not only the Holodomor, it's also the Chernobyl and the hundreds of years, 300 years basically of resisting Russification there. So it is like a given that sooner or later any other war, even if they will have peace, will break out. Either way, Russia may conquer Ukraine, but it will be a Pyrrhic victory for them. And when I mean Pyrrhic victory, the Ukrainians will do everything to make sure the Russians will be choking and suffocating with them.
Yeah,
you get me?
Yeah, it'll they'll stay in their throats until the Russians choke on the Ukrainian conquest. Yeah, I think the conquest will. The thing is, I think you're right. I think Russia will lose everything in order to win Ukraine. That would be the cost. That would be the price that they have to pay. And because ultimately, when people are fighting for their homeland, they fight on a whole different level than people who are fighting a political. And an American soldier in Iraq is going to fight in a very different mindset than a Ukrainian soldier in Ukraine. This is why the Arabs couldn't win against Israel. It wasn't because the Israelis were some miraculous elite fighting, army. It's because this was their final place to call home. If they lost that, they would lose their country, they would lose their home, they would lose the only proper safe place that the Jews were safe in the world. Because especially at that time, very few countries in the world really liked the Jews, and very few countries genuinely supported the Jews. People have this myth that they think America and Britain always supported Israel. There were times where during the Second World War there were ships full of Jews that were turned away from the United States. There's a famous one that arrived in the United States, and the U.S. government said to them to piss off. That was the situation Jews found themselves in that period of the war. So I don't blame them to say, look, we have to find a place that we can 100% secure ourselves. We can't rely on the English and the Brits and the French and this and that. We can't rely on these people. These people will turn us away. These people will themselves kill us. The Jews have been refugees for a very long time. I'm talking biblical levels of time. They were written in the Bible. It's written about how Cyrus gave them sanctuary, the Iranian Persian king. So they go back a long time where they were looking for sanctuary from different people, and they found one place at one moment in history where it was like Israel, and it was King Solomon and all that. But after that, they were again refugees. They got pogromed in Morocco, in Iraq, in Syria. I think it was in Libya. All across the North African nations, they had pogroms against the Jews. All across Middle East, they had pogroms against the Jews. Then they came to Europe, and they found themselves in the situation with Germany. And even the Brits and the Americans were not particularly kind to the Jews. So I don't blame, if my people, if the Persians or the Iranians found themselves in that situation, of course I'd tell them, look, we have to find the country in order for us to secure ourselves. It would be insane to constantly beg other nations to keep us secure and keep us safe. Oh, we got Cyrus back. Hello, sir.
All right.
Say my name and I shall appear.
But did you hear what I said in regards to the sanctuary? It's famous that the Persian king gave the Jews.
I just heard Cyrus the Great, and that was my moment to enter the room.
That was it. It's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times.
Just it is with the C, not with the S, right?
Yeah. Well,
I am an anomaly, but it's pronounced Cyrus.
Exactly.
So,
just like in Polish.
Yeah.
Actually,
a number of people have been. Sorry, sorry. Go ahead, mate.
No. Keep going, and I'll come in.
No, a number of people have been referencing psyops in the chat.
Yes.
I'll say something controversial here. Judaism as we know it, the Bible as we know it, was the construction of these ideas was a Persian psyop. Ooh. In the sense that Judaism was used as a vehicle for the transmission of Iranian/Persian I don't want to say like social engineering per se, but
philosophies, ideas.
Yeah, the transmission of philosophical, religious ideas into the lands west of Babylon. Mm-hmm. Now, it just so happens that this religion became the foundation for numerous subsequent world religions. It's almost as if the psyop worked a little bit too well.
Good that you mentioned that, because I heard once one radical atheist mocking the Bible, calling it Persian fairy tales in a Hebrew edition. First view,
the first edition of the 1001 Arabian Nights.
Well, first
which
of
is,
all,
by the way,
there's a number
Persian.
It is there, but there are a number of themes that are considered foundational in the Abrahamic tradition, which appear nowhere in ancient Israelite religion. In fact, many of them don't even appear in the text, in the biblical text, the canonical corpus of the Old Testament or the Jewish Bible. The ideas like heaven and hell, personal judgment after death, angelology, in the sense that, for example, the names of angels are only ever given at a particular point in the biblical corpus, and it happens to coincide with the arrival of the Persians, because there was no idea that the angels had names or their own personalities per se. I think it's in the book of Daniel that we're introduced to Angel Gabriel, Angel Michael for the first time, and it just so happens that Daniel had defected from being a Babylonian governor to being a Persian one. And there were a number of other ideas. So these, even I would even go so far as to say monotheism itself. And these ideas were sent back to Jerusalem when the Jews were repatriated. It wasn't just the Jews. The Edict of Cyrus, which we find on the Cyrus cylinder, didn't specify any particular group, but all of those who were held captive, including the Jews, were sent back, were given the freedom to return to their homes. And the Jews in particular were funded their return to the quote unquote Holy Land. The construction of their, or reconstruction of their temple, was funded by the Persian treasury. The guy who was the treasurer at the time was Mithridates, or as in modern Persian, Meherdad.
Oh my God.
The guy who was pulling the purse strings. So
one thing I wanted to ask you, so glad you came back. Unfortunately, I wanted to end the show, but I still want to talk to you. So please, let's arrange a time where we can actually talk much more at an earlier sort of time in the day.
I'm sorry, I fell out my battery died. I was just
that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I definitely want to arrange something with you and where we can actually have an extensive talk. But one thing I wanted to mention in regards to what you just said about the Persian sort of influences. The funny thing is, in the Quran, now I read this in the Quran and it shocked me. I mean, you are familiar with Speaker's Corner, you're familiar with the Muslim Dawas, where they always mention the people of the book and they only mention the Christians and the Jews. I read, now I have to clarify and I have to be certain whether it was in the Quran or the Hadiths. When they mentioned the people of the book, they talked about the Christians, the Jews, and the Zoroastrians. It was mentioned.
It doesn't say Zoroastrian explicitly. It says the Jews, the Christians, and so it says the people of the book, and it mentions the Jews and the Christians, and then it goes on to say and the Majus.
Yeah.
So Majus is a Arabized
name.
So, for example, in the New Testament, it's Magush in Greek, which refers to the three wise men who visited
Jesus,
who arrived in the Holy Land to find Jesus, and that's a word that we're not familiar with. The Iranian, the Persian word for the members of the priestly order, Moran, for example.
Okay. But it did mention, but that's what I mean. That's why I'm going to go and look at it and try to confirm this. But it to me, I was like, wait a minute. They're talking about Persians. They're talking about Iranians.
Yes.
So they don't consider them as idol worshippers and pagans, because it clearly looks like they counted them along with the Christians and the Jews. But yet somehow in modern day Dawa, that has now been erased, or that has been simply left out, and they only seem to mention the Christians and the Jews.
Yeah, that word appears in the Quran. However, it all depends where you put the commas and the full stops in that ayah. So it's not clear whether it's speaking about the Majus, which are the Magi. First of all, let me be clear. Magi doesn't mean specifically Zoroastrian.
It just means
it's a priestly class, but it could be it could potentially be from a variety of Iranian religions. So, for example, the Mithraists, the people who worship the divinity Mitra, or Mehr, as we know it. Although that divinity was synthesized back into Zoroastrianism in a later iteration of the religion, it's a divinity that predates Zoroastrianism. The worship of Mitra or Mithras was already in place before Zoroastrianism or the worship of Ahura Mazda was spoken about by Zarathustra or Zoroaster.
Okay.
So I think in this case they're probably speaking about the Zoroastrians, but it's not explicit. And again, depending on how you punctuate that sentence, it could be referring to the Majus or the Magi as distinct from the people of the book. However, I think it's somewhat ambiguous because it goes on to mention another group who I think are considered pagan. So you'd probably have to consult the tafsir on that. But we can look into that
Yeah,
on some other occasion.
what I would love to set up either in person a speaker's corner or online like this. I would actually think it would be better online because we can then bring up the various references and things that we want to. But I want you to talk about I want literally the stream to be called the people of the book. Who are the people of the book? And we can just dive right into this, do a deep dive into the people of the book that is professed by modern day preachers of Islam, and who is the Quran actually mentioned as people of the book, and who does the Quran actually refer to when they're talking about the people of the book. And that would be, I think, for me anyway, it would be fascinating. I don't know about the audience, but
let's say if the Zoroastrians are considered amongst the people of the book, what difference would it make practically? What would it change?
I think it would make a great deal of impact in the modern Dawa, because their narrative is that only Abrahamic religions are considered the people of the book, are considered the worshippers of the one God. And if Zoroastrianism is included into that, then that would I think it would be a massive impact in the Muslim world, in which were Zoroastrians influencing Abraham, or the Abrahamic religions influenced Zoroaster, which, I mean, Zoroastrianism, as far as I understand, was older than Abraham's religion, right? Or was it the other way around? Am I mistaken?
Well, I was kind of alluding to it earlier when I said that Judaism as we know it was a psyop created by the Persians.
Precisely.
Because what Israelite religion, so there was no Judaism per se before that time, before the Persian era, before the post-exilic era. Israelite religion before that time didn't include things which we now consider foundational in the Abrahamic religions, like personal judgment after death, like heaven and hell, like punishment and reward, the resurrection of the flesh, an end of days, the coming of a savior figure in the future. These ideas are not in the Jewish canon, or they weren't in Jewish thinking. These were ideas that were developed by a particular sect. And when I give you the name, you'll understand why I'm so sure that this sect was under the influence of Iranian ideas. So there were a number of rabbinical sects that emerged in the post-exilic period, or in the Persian period. You had one of the best known was the Sadducees, and these were like the biblical literalists. They were the traditionalists. They were the purists. They only took the scripture that they had, and they had no time for outside ideas. You also have the Essenes, and they are famed for having written the Dead Sea Scrolls. They were responsible for the creation of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and in Qumran.
But that's what I mean. These are the things, because, like, as I said, I personally think this would be a major revelation, certainly to the modern day Muslim narrative.
Here's the key. What was the name of the group that was bringing these new ideas that already existed in Zoroastrianism? They already existed in the Persian world, and were suddenly saying, no, these are also Jewish. These ideas are Jewish. They're coming from God. These are a message from God. What was the name of that group of rabbis? That group of Jewish scholars in the post-exilic period?
Ashkenazi? No, I don't know.
The Pharisees.
The Pharisees. Oh.
Now, as someone who, if you were to ask, for example, a Muslim, what does the word Pharisee mean? Or an Arabic speaker, sorry. What does the word Pharisee mean? They may think, oh, well, hold on. We had the Prophet Muhammad had a companion by the name of Salman al-Farisi. What does that mean, al-Farisi? Now, if you ask a Jew today, who are the Pharisees? They'll say they're the rabbis. They are considered the custodians of Jewish tradition.
But
however, when you ask what the word means, they will tell you that it comes from a word of Greek origin, which in Hebrew is perushim, which means the separatist, which in itself is kind of suspicious to me. But actually, if you translate the word Persian into Hebrew, you get Farisi.
Which is the language that they refer to in Iranian, which is Farsi, which is the language.
It's
That's what I mean.
Farsi.
And I knew that
Arabic,
that name came from Parsi or Parsian.
Yes.
That's where that has
However,
come
in the
from.
Semitic languages, like the P, for example, in Arabic, the P gets dropped in place of
Yes.
a F sound.
Yes. Yeah, that's why the
So-
Palestinians are Philistines.
Right. Now,
Oh, and by the way, is that the reason why Arabs are never saying much about their palm trees? You know, because it will be something like palm trees.
Yeah.
They either drop the P for a B or for an F.
Yeah, because Pepsi is Bepsi, literally spelled Bepsi on their signs.
Yeah.
It says with a bear because they don't have the letter P. They just don't have the letter P. If Iranians, we do. We actually have a per sound, but in the Arabic alphabet, they don't even have the per, the sound for per. So everything gets
Yeah. Now I know why they call it my land Boland. Boland.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say Boland because they can't say P.
Although I like the Persian name for that. Frankly, it sounds so majestic. Lekhistan.
Is that Cyrus? Is that how they pronounce Poland in Iranian? Because I'll be honest, I don't know. I think we might have lost Cyrus. I don't know. I can't. Can you? You can hear me, MC, right?
I can, of course.
I think Cyrus may have either moved away or disconnected.
Sorry, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Now.
I did. I navigated away because I was just looking for a reference. To be honest with you, I've never heard an Iranian mention Poland in the Persian language, but it sounds plausible what's being said. So
yeah. I have never. I have no idea because I mean, I just want to end or start to wrap this up. But one thing I would like you to do, Cyrus, is to tell us, because I've been saying it for quite a long time to different people. Tell us the name for Xerxes in the Persian.
It is Khashayar.
Khashayar Shah, exactly. And
Yes.
it's like the name that the Greeks picked was the furthest thing from how it's. They're just like, look, we can't pronounce this, so we're just gonna make something else up.
Well, you know, this will be amusing to Persian speakers. The name for Cyrus in Greek, or at least one pronunciation of it, is Kyros.
Kurosh. Oh, I see. So it comes from, because Cyrus comes from Kurosh, which is the actual name that
Yes.
we Persians call it, and Kurosh and Dariush, that became Cyrus and Darius.
Yeah, actually, Dariush in the authentic Old Persian pronunciation is Darayavaush.
Oh wow, that's the Greeks would have got that. So
Yeah.
they
And it's actually funny because in Poland we have also this name Dariusz. We just say it in a more in a shorter way. We say Darek, but it's Dariusz. It's
Darek was the name of the coin that bore the likeness of Darius the Great. And actually,
it's amazing.
With Cyrus being so prominent in the Bible, Cyrus and Darius, their names are also, for example, in the Italian language. So in Italian, Cyrus is Ciro, and Darius is Dario. So
wow,
and these are not uncommon names in Italy.
Yeah, it's just I am very fascinated, especially when I learned about Khashayar Shah, and it's sort of how it evolved that name into something completely unrecognizable in sort of English.
But frankly, when I hear that, I thought that it could be in Hebrew, to be honest, not in
or someone just clearing their throat.
Yeah.
That's the point. Khashayar Shah.
I know it's crazy, but yeah. But the thing is, the deviation from that original name to what it is, what the Greeks and the English call it, is so far. At least the Kurosh, Cyrus, Darius. It's you can kind of see. Fair enough. There's some evolution there, but it's still basically the same name. But that Xerxes is just nothing. It's like my name is, I don't know. It's like calling Jesus Bob. It's it's just like a totally different thing.
But actually, the name Jesus is quite far from the original Aramaic pronunciation as well.
Exactly, because his name is Yeshua in the original, and I don't think even the Aramaics. I don't think Hebrew and Aramaic actually have J. All the J's are Yays, I think.
And usually when you get the Ye or Ya or Yo in Hebrew or Aramaic names, that's a reference to Yahweh.
Yeah, exactly. And even Judas is called Yahya.
Yeah,
maybe that's why they cut it out, and when they want to insult Jesus, they just call him Yeshu.
Gentlemen, starting with Cyrus, would you like to give me your final give us your final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up. Cyrus, and then MC, and then we'll close it down. Final thoughts.
We've touched on a number of topics. However, I'm going to speak about something slightly different as I round off my contribution. I'm interested in the preservation and re-emergence of the original teachings of Zarathustra or Zoroaster. So I'll definitely keep Banksy updated on my progress with that. But I'm putting together a website. This Zoroastrianism, or Mazdayasna, which is the reverence of wisdom, was to all intents and purposes a world religion, or at least a philosophy that affected the development of civilization all over the world. However, it's not really on the tip of people's tongues nowadays, despite the fact that invariably, whatever country you're in, it's probably been influenced by his teachings to some degree, more or less. So I will leave you guys with that. Keep your eyes and ears open for developments on that front. Thanks very much for giving me a little bit of time to speak tonight, and I look forward to doing so more with Banksy, former romantic, and whoever else you've got contributing.
Yes. No, thank you so much. I would love to actually have like a proper sit-down conversation in a long form, especially about the connections of, let's say, the people of the book and all of those references and how that, I don't know whether it's strategic or whether it's just simply through time, Zoroastrianism got dropped from Islam, certainly, and definitely from Christianity, even though Christianity still has the Old Testament that refers to the Persian kings. But yeah, I would love to go down that road. MC or former romantic, what would you like? Final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts will be a little bit off the topic because, as you can hear me through the entire stream, I mentioned a few times the boomers.
Yes.
And oh my, that doesn't exist. I met a few American ones, and I understood why they are so hated. And frankly, I also would like to create a political party that would have in the program to gas them already of what the fuck kind of a population of people they were. I mean, I even studied their history out of violent, red hot anger when I had to deal with them for a while, to be honest. Just to call them out, and whenever some will make me furious again. I mean, those people don't fucking hear themselves. One boomer is like complaining to me, and another, the people in my country, the States, don't respect elderly anymore. Also, them 2 weeks later, I have sent my mother to the elderly's house because one was 65 but his mother was 95. The same with another one. Oh, and by the way, weren't they from the population that have put this slogan? Don't trust anybody over 30. Aren't those motherfuckers invented that? I mean, they inherited, drunk, and eaten all the drugs and all the alcohol, but they would like to ban it for us if they could.
Yes.
They basically fucking destroyed because it started from them. From that's what all our problems now that we have, including with women, including with all that wild sadistic feminism that we have.
I know.
And I have called myself ex-romantic or former romantic because especially one pissed me like really off with him being I'm a romantic and this and that. And because of that he married a single mother with 3 children, probably all 3 children from a different father, and the motherfucker is like encouraging others to do it from my generation and others like, oh, but I am the only one that have a successful marriage. What kind of a fucking successful marriage is that, by the way? To me, it sounds like masochism, to be honest. Listen, kids to me are like farts. I only tolerate mine. That's what I said to him.
Oh, that's
you have no right to fucking fart in my presence unless you are a real friend. And that's how we treat kids. No way I would tolerate any other one around me for too long. Unless they would be shitting with gold and silver. I can tolerate this much. Find me that kind of a kid.
I'm with you. So, what are your what do you want people to take away from tonight? And also, what are your final thoughts on the Tates? How do you think they're going to get treated? Do you think are they actually going to be able to get off free, or is this it?
If they are having it in Romania, then sorry, but don't count on such fairness like in any other first world Western country. I mean, cut it down, scratch it off from the list. As I told you, the Romanians don't give a shit about Tate misogyny, etc. They give a shit about their own image of their own country. And we know that Romania doesn't have a good image anywhere. And I'm not talking about the Romanians being constantly accusing of being the motherland of the gypsies. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about many other things. I'm talking about the corruption, about the lack of the rule of the law. There's sometimes it's like 50-50 there compared to Britain, compared to Germany, compared to my own country even. I'm talking about the immense poverty. Also, lack of indoor plumbing, etc. Child trafficking there. That's the boiling point. Child trafficking.
Damn. Yeah, man. All right. I will end this with you, my good sir. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Go on.
And because of that, because Andrew touched the sensitive part with his brother and said that, oh, it's such a nice place because it's so corrupt and I can use it for my advantage. When he gives them advertisement like that, if it's in Romania, then he is fucked basically. I'm sorry, he have to run away from there because they would do everything to like they want to do with Trump now. You can see.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, yeah, I suppose he may have the same issues. The thing is, do you think that Romania will actually, go hard on the Tates just because he's talked shit about their country, or do you think that the Americans will are the ones that are actually guiding, if you like, the guiding hand? And I'll be honest, the only reason I'm distracting a little bit.
Oh, they can buy them. The Americans can buy the Romanians. I'm sure about it. And because they have tons of money, they will probably buy the Romanian government and maybe even buy Tates from them to judge. Maybe send them to Guantanamo. Who knows?
I'm with you.
And since Tate converted to Islam.
MC, do you remember what Cyrus's channel was called? Something The Point, but it's just escaped me, and I'm trying to look through my through my
Cyrus SPA, probably.
No. It was his channel that I'm trying to, his YouTube channel. It was something the point, and I have completely, like, it's gone. It's out of my brain, and I can't. I'm trying to find it, but it looks like I may have to just, because I was going to mention it again for anyone out there who hasn't already been. You guys haven't subscribed, so it's okay, my friend. Thank you so much. I'm gonna jump off this live stream and just wrap it up and then go to sleep. Have a great night, my friend, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Okay, boys and girls, it's just us. Thank you again for MC and Cyrus. Amazing chat tonight. Actually, it was surprisingly good for me. I hope you guys also got something out of that, because these were some really great stuff. Cyrus is I knew Cyrus is full of really good stuff. If you guys want to go and check out his actually he's got a YouTube channel called Cyrus I, but he also has another YouTube channel which is something the point, but I can't find it. Why can't I find it? So yeah, let me see if he's put it in his. No, there's no reference to that other channel. Claim, test the claim. Oh, finally, I found it. Test the claim. That's the one. And yeah, I'm just gonna post the URL. If you guys are interested, definitely check out test the claim. He debates with the various people, mostly Muslims, in Speaker's Corner, as well as what's it called, online and stuff. But his stuff on Zoroastrianism, the stuff that I saw, was fantastic, especially on the Cyrus I, that he had some really good, just fantastic. So I'm hoping that yes, with Cyrus, we will do a live stream just purely discussing the influences of Zoroastrianism and the Persians upon the Abrahamic religions, because I think there is far more here than certainly both the Muslims and the Christians are willing to admit. I would wager even the Jews are willing to admit the influences of Zoroastrianism and the Persians upon their religion. A lot of people claim that yes, the Abraham's father worked, as far as I understood, something like in a Byzantine or a Zoroastrian temple, and that's where the whole Judaism came out of. But as Cyrus puts it, it could be a psyop where they actually infiltrated, or they created these religions in order to propagate the philosophies of Zoroaster all around the world. I don't know the actual story, but I certainly would hope to find out when we get there on another stream. For now, I hope the Tate brothers see some level of justice. It looks like MC is very skeptical. He's not holding on to them actually face or seeing any kind of justice. Yes, thank you, sir. Test the claim, and I'll put the link up there as well. Test the claim. Check it out. Great channel, and as I say, Cyrus is got so much insight on especially the Persian stuff, which I would love to pick his brain. So I will hound you, sir, and I will message you to try to get us to do this live stream where we discuss this stuff in a bit more depth level. But thank you for coming on. Thank you, MC. Thanks everyone in the chat. I am gonna try and find something to play us out. As far as our outro is concerned, I am a little bit stuck. What are we gonna play? I wish I could actually play the top G track, but I can't. It's copyrighted, so we can't play the top G track as an outro. But instead, we are going to play. Hold on. Well, I mean, I guess since the Tate brothers are being brought up on, since the Tate brothers are so popular with the world, and even with all the canceling, people still can't stop talking about them. I guess this is fitting. Let's do this song. Thank you everyone for coming. Have a great night. Peace, and peace and positivity coming your way, I'm sure. Peace out. Let me get this thing going. Oh, not that one.
La 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 la. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, your loving is all I think about. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, it's more than I dare to think about. La 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 la. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, your love is more than I think about. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, it's more than I dare to think about. Every night, every day, just to be there in your arms. Won't you stay? Won't you stay forever and ever? La 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 do la 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 la. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, your loving is all I think about. I just can't